Hello and welcome to another Indie Sunday. This week we're going to be playing Lotus Reverie First Nexus, and the demo version of it. I recently looked through, as I always do when I search for games for Indie Sunday, just looking through the new games or demo stuff on Steam, just scrolling through them. And the thing that really stood out to me in Lotus Reverie was the amazing character designs. I mean, look at them. They all look great. Honestly, if it wasn't for one aspect of the game where I'm like, I don't know if I'll like that, I would have just done a full playthrough on YouTube. But there's one thing that I'm like, I want to try it out first, because the game has a time aspect, time management aspect, and I think the only other game I've played that had a time aspect like this, although I don't know how it's implemented, of course, because I haven't played it yet. But the only other memories I have of games with time management aspects is the Atelier series that used to have time management aspects. I think in the recent games they've moved away from that, but I just hate the thought of, having to rush things. If I want to spend 2 hours exploring stuff, then I want to spend 2 hours exploring stuff and not having to worry about, oh shit, like the day's over, I'm losing time here, I need to do other things. But yeah, that's just not an aspect of games I like usually. If there's games that are particularly focused on that, mostly like things like roguelikes maybe, it can fit there. But for story-heavy games or RPGs, I just don't really like it. Another thing I wanted to quickly mention, which I saw while going through the options menu, which is called Organize for some reason, but sure. I don't know why. The language was by standard, it was on Spanish, but the text was in English anyway, so I don't really know what that's all about, but sure. What I really liked was that some of these keys are assigned based on what they do, which is something that games don't, or like at least the games I play usually don't do that often. Like you see here, Organize is on O, Memories is on M, and Diary is on D. I kind of like that. Also, F5 and F8, because I use my F keys to start and stop recording, but my start and stop recording is on F6 and F9, and quick save and quick load are on F5 and F8. So I might not be using that. I first thought well, that's great. It's thankfully not the keys that I use to stop and start recording, but at the same time, then I was like, it's one key over. I'm totally gonna miss-hit a key and just stop recording by accident. So might not use that. And also you can't rebind any of this, so probably gonna not use quick saves. I mean, I don't really know how necessary they are anyway. I mean, I'm gonna assume that you can't save anywhere then, but let's just go for the demo. It's sort of, yeah, I probably should have explained this first before talking about the whole time management thing. It's a visual novel that has time management elements and sort of strategy battle elements. I'm not sure yet whether the time management elements come into the game in sort of choices, where you can, I don't know, maybe you have the choice to go do that or go do that, and you can only do like 2 out of 3 things or something like that. I don't know. We'll just see. There's no need to talk about it that much. New life. Can you see me? No. The flower withers and time is up. Do you still recognize my voice? Of course I'm scared. Of the unknown future, of losing you once again. Don't you feel it? My heart, my soul, my life. Don't let them go. And in exchange, I won't forget. Nothing. You open your eyes. Small and annoying dots of light flood your vision. In their midst, a dark silhouette appears. A voice pants. Your thorax writhes, your limbs stiffen and creak, settling into position accompanied by intense bursts of pain. Little by little, the suffering ebbs until all you can feel is the cold and dusty floor at your fingertips. You lift your gaze in a futile effort to identify the silhouette leaning over you. A scalpel falls from its hands. Its lips curl into a soft smirk. It brings its hands to its head, laughing more and more and more, until all you can hear is a bellowing cackle. I can't believe it. It fits you like a glove. The girl jokes around, even teasing you despite her previous reluctance. Don't look at me like that. I'm just messing around. It's just too much of a coincidence. Or luck, who knows? Or I dare say that this answers your question regarding those two, but... well, we'll have plenty of time for that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. She takes the liberty to approach you and reaches a hand out to adjust your clothes, stretching to reach your collar. What's so funny? I'm doing this because I can't leave those two alone. Never mind leaving them with you. The girl doesn't let you go, tugging your robe back and forth even as she looks away. That's why you have to catch up first. I have to teach you how this world works, this new life. You have to learn how to fight. The tutorial, I see. That's why we came here after all. Short of breath, you follow the girl up the stairs, trying to match her wild pace. At last, both of you finally reach the door to the highest point of the castle. Your eyes take a second to adjust, not only to the bright light, but also to the impressive view and her imposing figure. Ah, that's a different woman, okay. So many missing, and those remaining are stuck in this survival game. What else did they expect? We're nothing but pawns, but that's precisely why I have to survive. There is no other acceptable result. Everyone should be grateful and happy to be able to experience this moment. So many sad and whiny faces, I don't understand. How do they expect to win like that? The day of judgment has fallen upon all with equity. All those poor souls who cannot appreciate this opportunity to find meaning in their pitiful lives, may they drop dead and rot. Dead. On the floor lies a body. It has a humanoid shape, but reptilian features, bulging eyes protruding from their sockets and a V-shaped mouth stretching from one cheek to the other, like the macabre grin of a marionette. You're watching in silence as the body dissipates into small orbs of light, and suddenly a black robe is thrown onto you, obscuring your view. By the time you shake it off, the creature is no more. And its killer, a person you cannot properly distinguish, captures you in its gaze for the briefest moment before turning and leaving the room. A robe, a scalpel, a terrible migraine, the company of a stranger, and the instinct to stay alive. Let the games begin. Do you want to play the battle minigame, or would you prefer to simply read the events as they unfold? You can also choose mixed mode if you want to do both and not miss any scenes. Your decision will not affect the outcome, but you will only be able to unlock all the achievements in battle or mixed mode. Yeah, we're doing battle mode. I want to see what it's all about. Oh, that's an interesting design. What? Do I have to teach you everything? Oh my. Sure. Let me take care of you. Let's start with the basics. This map, which is divided into tiles, represents a mental image of the battleground, and each combatant is one of those colorful circle icons you see around. Okay, so there's two combatants. That's probably me, that's her, I'd assume. If you want to smack some cheeks, select your icon and move to the enemy position. Unless you're a smart-ass know-it-all who prefers to skip my lessons, in which case you're free to go away. Press the portrait. Oh, that's still her. Press the portrait or touch your icon. Afterward, touch 3 tiles to your left to keep going, or 3 tiles to the right to take the elevator and skip my tutorial. Wait. Press the portrait or touch your icon. Okay, this or this. Wait. No, that's my icon. That's the enemy. Afterward, touch 3 tiles to your left to keep going, or 3 tiles to the right to take the elevator and skip my tutorial. Okay. Touch my self, and then 3 tiles to the left. That's technically not 3 tiles to the right. That's 3 tiles to the right and 1 up. Okay. Alright. Those lines you see are your movements plan. If you ever change your mind about it, press clear path. But you can't move yet. We're still in the decision phase, so time is stopped and nothing will happen until you press the ready button. Your aim here is to fight and survive, right? For that, just moving around is not going to make the cut. You'll also have to take action. You'll use your action after you finish your movement. Actions are divided into 3 categories: attack, defense, and magic. For now, let's just use attack. Attacks consume stamina, but only if there's someone in your attack range. Nothing will happen otherwise. What is stamina, you ask? Well, duh, it is that blue bar next to your face, you idiot. And the orange bar represents your life. You'll die if this last one runs out, and I'm guessing that's not your plan at the moment. We can think about that later. Oh well, let's forget about that. For now, select attack and your weapon. Is this easy enough for you? I like a sassy tutorial. Yeah, let's use a scalpel, and we're ready. Are you really ready? Yeah, let's go. Oh, there's another enemy up here. Okay, we did 25 damage and took 15. Turn 2. Oh, did you see that? You just went past one. Everyone moves after pressing ready. You were lucky the enemy decided to just chill instead of flanking you, so let's use this chance to catch it. But 3 tiles are the maximum all units can move per turn, and if the enemy decides to go away, you won't be able to catch it, right? For that, you can boost to double your movements and hit even harder in exchange for extra stamina. Well, what are you waiting for? Activate boost now. Okay. I recommend you boost often, but don't go overboard or you'll get punished. A state where your guard drops and you'll be unable to move or take action. But even if you boost, you still don't know in which direction the enemy will go. For that, here on the right we have the list of attitudes with all enemies of the map. The list displays in what manner will your character move in case it comes across an enemy. Attitude will have higher priority than any normal movement towards any other tile. From this list, enemy 1 is the one you've already defeated, and enemy 2 is the one you just found out. We still don't know enemy 3's whereabouts. The higher an enemy is on this list, the higher your priority to that enemy is. You always use the attitude of the enemy with the highest priority around you and ignore all the others. I'm sort of getting about 40% of what's going on right now. Besides, you'll attack the highest enemy in range on your priority list if you have several of them around. Okay, so this is my priority list, so I can swap around here. So I would swap 1 down to the bottom of the priority list because it's dead. Or I could just leave it there because, well, it's dead, so it doesn't matter anyway. But I definitely want 2 above 3 on the priority list because I don't know where 3 is. So I want to prioritize attacking number 2, even if number 3 were to move in my way, I guess. Alright, we'll just see how it works in practice. Yep. You don't get it? You'll get used to it. For now, use the arrow or drag and drop the second enemy up to the first on the list to guarantee its uppermost priority. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. If you select the aggressive attitude, you will go to the same tile as the enemy and attack if it's in range, even if it isn't the highest enemy on your priority list. With distant, you will get away from the enemy, and with indifferent, you will ignore it. But whatever, you just want to kick some butt, right? Well then, select aggressive and you won't even need to adjust your movements. Yep. Go on. Let's go. We caught up. 29 damage, alright. Got Scalpel Plus. Okay, where's the last one? Yeah, okay, I would have thought that. Save that smile for later. Defeating these creepy crawlies only takes 1 shot, so they're a piece of cake. Now you only need to learn how to recover your stamina. There are several ways. When moving without boosting, you will recover some stamina, but don't expect much. When you stay still on your tile, you will recover way more. If you press the meditate button just above boost, you will be defenseless and unable to move, but you will recover a lot of stamina. Finally, you can choose defense, which will help you to recover stamina while reducing any damage taken. Let's roll with that last one. Stay where you are and defend yourself, but select distant attitude for the last enemy just in case it comes for your neck. Easy, right? Yes. Yeah, okay, we'll do defense first. Scalpel block. Yeah. Just move that up on the priority list, and we're ready. And we're fleeing. Alright, it moved its 3 turns. Not 3 turns, 3 tiles. Alright, let's call it a day. You're free. Go have fun now. If you want to leave, take the stairs. In some other places you'll find some tiles with special effects when you stand on them. They depend on the environment, of course. Also, keep in mind that boosting will affect all your movements and actions. Try to avoid running away while defending and boosting. Okay. Why? Well, try it yourself. Activate boost and defend yourself, but don't move or evade the enemy. Boost consumes more stamina while defense recovers it, right? And if you use both, you come out with a net negative. Okay, the universe explodes. Joking. Boosted defense will consume stamina, but it improves your defense even more, and you will reduce the enemy's stamina when they attack you. But only when they attack you, okay? If they don't, you will spend your stamina for nothing, and don't count on me to save your skin. Just don't forget to change the attitude to creature free to indifferent. If you don't, you'll avoid the enemy and your defense will be for nothing. Okay. Where did all the things go? Okay, I have to select myself first. That's fine. You know what? Sure, we'll try it out. Boost, defense. See what happens. We're ready. Okay. It didn't look like its stamina got reduced. Oh, its stamina is 0 now. Very well, it has been reduced. Alright, can we do magic? Grenade plus? Sure. Let's go. Okay, that didn't do anything. Does grenade range 1 to 2? Okay, so I can't use a grenade because I'm basically at range 0, and for me to use a grenade I need to be away from the enemy. So we'll just use the scalpel. Do another 29 damage, and there we are. The enemy is done for. Alright, and now we can just move. I'll take 2 turns. Yeah. Will it? Will it take 2 turns? Apparently. Let's go. When you finally reach the ground floor, there's not a single enemy left. You suck in deep breaths to refill your lungs. You could even say that you're proud of your feat just now. Now all you have to do is leave this place. Why are we in a hospital anyway? But when there's nothing remaining but a straight shot to the exit, that pride fades away. In its place, a terrible migraine assaults your head. The long central hallway's vinyl floor reflects the pale white lights overhead. The only exception is one point in its center. Is it vinyl? I think it's vinyl. A new figure, this one apparently human. A woman dressed in a long robe that covers her from top to bottom. The same robe you wear, the only difference being its color, white. The migraine intensifies. You writhe in pain, staggering in place. Ready for battle, the woman draws her katana. Her image wavers before your eyes in sync with your own heartbeat. Okay. Well, it's about time you learn about fighting with a partner. Here you'll have control over the blue icon too. First, your 2 units share the same life. Any damage one receives will be felt by the other. That's an interesting mechanic. Nothing like those creatures you fought up until now. Those go on their own, and it's better to ignore them and save your time. But good news, the more allied units that are together on the same tile, the more they will reduce any damage taken. The beauty of the power of friendship. Isn't it wonderful? Well, actually, not so much. And I'll explain myself with the second point. Let's talk about magic. I imagine you have already noticed it and don't know what it is about. I mean, I've noticed it. I think I know what it's about. But we'll see. Magic needs a lot of stamina, but in exchange it offers a plethora of unique effects. For now you only have 3 spells. Enhancement will increase your attack and defense up until the end of your next turn. Use it during safe turns, and if the enemy is standing still, wouldn't it be easy to use enhancement and then proceed to attack with everything you got? Shock will paralyze both the enemy and yourself. You can also paralyze all enemies on the same tile if you boost. If one enemy is always pursuing you, you can play bait while paralyzing that fool and your partner thrashes them. Grenade can be used from 1 or 2 tiles away to damage enemies, but it won't work against enemies on the same tile. If you know where an enemy will be, just stay a couple tiles close to them and done. Although remember that long distance attacks only work in a straight line. Okay. Grenade doesn't get along with aggressive attitude. It won't work if you're on the same tile as the enemy unit after all, so keep it in mind. But if an enemy always follows you around, use distant attitude and grenade together. You'll deal damage while avoiding them. Fantastic, don't you think? The issue with these spells is that, compared to normal attacks, magic will consume stamina even if it's not used against anybody. But they're really useful. Become stronger, paralyze enemies, attack all enemies on the same tile at the same time. Although, your enemies will also use magic against you. That's what I meant with the power of friendship before. But the same can be applied to them, both for the good and the bad. Do you know what I mean? Yep. After the incident, there are 2 opponents in every battle. 2 who share the same life. If one is too strong for you, find a weaker link. Okay. So we've got 2. This is priority. She's definitely going to be too strong. Avoid her. Initiate on him. What do we want to do? You know, for now, just... Why don't we just wait here? Or like, you know... Does this... Okay, nothing moves. Alright. Move to here. Just worry about that. Let's go. Okay, there's a woman in white. Ah. Yikes. That was a very pretty image. Okay. You block. Go. Okay, I can't block while moving. So definitely go here. Huh? I didn't quite get that. You? I want you... Actually, you know what? Oh. Wait. Clear path. I want you to move here. There you go. Does she initiate? Oh, I can only move 3 tiles anyway. I forgot. Okay. You know what? Let's move over here. Also initiate him, run away. Let's just move out of her sight. I think he's probably up there somewhere. We should probably match up. So, go here for now. Because it did say we'd take less damage if we were on the same tile. I'd hope that she's not going to move. No, clear the path. It's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. Okay. Because I don't want to take 35 damage again. And we'll use us first. Can I move both at the same time? Yes, I can. Okay. Okay. I'm grasping what's going on here. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Move here. Move here. I'm sure there's quicker ways to deal with this, but... Okay. Why don't we just... You know what? We'll do this. Wait. It's not what I'm... Okay. That's fine. And... Run away. Just... Let's just see what this is. Okay, he's moving away. Okay. That worked out. now we've got the problem that we can't really get to him. So I think, you know what? Yeah, screw it. We're going all in. Use your scalpel and go after her. Use your fists. Please do some sort of damage. Okay, she does a lot of damage, and I only do 10. Okay. Am I gonna lose the first battle? Run away and grenade her. Well, you just... I guess you can defend. Okay. Yeah, we're so losing this. Alright. We'll figure this out. And at this point I should just experiment. Let's do enhancement. And you just come over here. I guess you can attack. Sure. Okay. She's running away. Why is she? I mean, she's killed me now, but why was she running away anyway? Okay, yeah, we're restarting. Okay. Yeah. We heard the tutorial the first time. Indifferent is fine for now. Okay. We're gonna take the damage. 1, 2. Can we, out of curiosity, can we just move here and stay out of her range for now, and then move past her? Nope. That seems like a preemptive strike. Alternative. Oh god, that was so much. Can I retry that? If I click escape, restart. Give me one more chance. Yes, yes, I know. This is not easy. You know what I'll do? Enhance. We'll wait a turn. You can just block. And then we'll see if it's actually like a predetermined attack that she'll do regardless. If it happens in turn 1 specifically, or if it happens once we move into her range. I guess we can... I mean, we're just gonna move anyway, so... Avoid her at all costs. I guess we can just technically do it like this. Just say we're ready. Okay, it happens once we move into her vision. That's fine. Now we know at least. And we're just gonna move over there. With both of us. And I want to go after the guy up top. And this time I'm not attacking her. I'm gonna ignore her as much as possible. Because, as we now know, we don't stand a chance against her at all. I could also press space, apparently, for getting ready, which would probably be a bit quicker. Alright, move here. And you move here. While you do that, do a grenade and attack. Oh, I have to hold the spacebar. That's free tiles. Yes, attack. The scalpel. You attack with your fists and use the same here. Yes. You know what? We'll just do that anyway. I'm not sure if we'd follow him regardless. Probably would. Yeah, she's back up here. That's fine. Yeah, okay. And let's hope that she goes back down again. And this time we'll focus on him and not on her. You know what? He'll run away. He'll run down here. We'll follow him to here and we'll be in range. That's the hope, at least. Move down here. Move down here. Okay, she's following us. But our other guy takes no damage, which is great. Though we take a lot. Why can I not? Oh, it's because I don't see him around the corner. Maybe. I mean, it's not really like we can do anything else other than just going down here. Could I? I mean, I can defend. I kind of forgotten what shock does. You know what? Actually, shock her. Feel indifferent towards him. Shock her. And the other dude attacks down here. Is that gonna work? Oh, he moves past. Now they're both on the same tile and I can't shock her. Wasn't it like that? Yeah. Okay. Jesus, why is this so difficult? I mean, I'm pretty much lost already. It's not really like I can do anything. I guess I can just attack him. And the other guy can just do what he always does. I'm dead, aren't I? But he moves down here. Yeah, I'm dead. Jesus Christ. I've done a bit of damage here. Alright. One more go. I think I'll read through this again. Yeah, they share the same lives. Yeah, I know that much. Magic needs a lot of stamina. Enhancement will increase attack and defense up until the end of your next turn. Use it during safe turns, and if the enemy is standing still, wouldn't it be easy to use enhancement and proceed to attack with everything you've got? Definitely we want to use enhancement in the first turn. That's a guarantee. Shock will paralyze both the enemy and yourself. It can also paralyze all enemies on the same tile if you boost. I forgot about boosting, I just realized. If one enemy is always pursuing you, you can play bait while paralyzing that fool and your partner thrashes them. Grenade won't work against enemies on the same tile. Meaning on the same tile as you, or if they are on the same tile together. Stay a couple tiles close to them and done. Although remember that long distance attacks only work in a straight line. Oh, and I was here and wanted to throw a grenade here, which obviously doesn't work because it's not a straight line. Grenade doesn't get along with aggressive attitude, yeah. Okay. Magic will consume stamina, they're really useful. Okay. Yeah. I get a bit more. Enhance. Okay. Let's enhance ourselves. And then let's move together into her powered up attack. You move here. Move here as well. And wait, that's 1, 2. That's still not close enough for grenade range. So can we just block there? And boost even. Boost the block because she'll attack That'll reduce her stamina by a lot. Hopefully. We don't take too much damage. Her stamina also isn't... Oh yeah, it's way down. Alright, you know what? We'll go after her. I'll try the snail, because now her stamina is down. You know what? We'll use a grenade in case she runs away. And if she doesn't run away, we'll still attack her with her fists. Or with our fists. And I don't want to boost right now. Do I want to boost right now? I do want to boost with him. Yeah, go on. She doesn't move, so the grenade is useless, but 30 damage with the boosted attack. That is very good. And it doesn't take much stamina at all. Okay, now we're in close range. So you can attack with the scalpel. And you can attack with your fists again, and you can also boost. Yes, stay boosted. Go. Okay. And that's decent damage. We're roughly equal at the moment, I would say. But I do more damage per turn by a bit. Go on. And you just do the same again. Yeah. 14, so we do 29 per turn. And get hit 24. So we're definitely in favor right now, unless she pulls off another sonic boom. But I hope she won't. Yeah, boost and boost. Let's go. We're both dead. What does that mean? I could have defended maybe. And we would have done enough damage anyway. Okay, so we can't both die. Okay, but I think strategically that wasn't bad. Yes, I know. I think what I might do is defend a lot more with our magician here. Right, we use enhancement on turn 1. Or can we boost enhancement? I'm not sure. Would it even be worth it? No. You know what? Let's just enhance. And then it took quite a bit of stamina. Go for the block. Boost the block. And you will boost the block as well. And both of us move up here. Let's see. Go and Sonic Boom me. 5 and 17. That's barely anything, and her stamina will be way down. Gone entirely. She's punished. That's the thing I've been missing. At this point, we know she won't be running away. Unless now having no stamina changes it. Which could happen, but okay. You will attack as well. Go after her. Yeah. Let's go. Okay, she doesn't move. How much damage do I do? Oh, I take no damage because she's punished. That is great. 30 damage here, but her stamina is recovering a bit. However, that won't matter too much. What I will do here is enhance, while you will attack. To sort of improve our defense and attack even further. And he'll do 15 damage while taking 0. And we'll take 14 damage, that's completely fine. Okay. So now we're in turn 5, and at this point I want to attack with both of my units. Yes. Go get her. Yep, she's down. Actually, a lot of fun. Less so really that as a fight, but it's kind of very, very tactical. Not quite in the sense that there's only like one solution. You have to slowly figure out what it is. But just judging by that one battle in and of itself, you go into that battle with the same sort of, how do you call that? I forget the word. Not requirements, but the same sort of, let's just call it preset. And the results can be vastly different from getting absolutely dominated to having a really easy fight based on how well you use your tactical options and how good you are at sort of almost like predicting the AI, where, again, the more often you fight that battle, the more likely you are to know what the AI might be doing. And I think this as a concept can work very, very well if it is used sparsely, meaning that any sort of difficult battles like this one, although I don't really know if it was all that difficult since it was just a tutorial, but you know, any sort of fights, any difficult battles, if they're used like, I don't know how long the game is, if it's like 15 hours, if they're used like once every 2 hours maybe at most, then that could be a lot of fun and have sort of easier battles sprinkled between them. But if every battle is this hard and you have to go through it like 3 times until you know what you're doing, I can see it getting annoying eventually. But for now, that felt pretty good to figure it out and everything. So let's continue. Above all, always remember, there's someone fighting by your side. In every battle, you will also be too. Protect them, but also trust them, because if there's something we have in common right now, it's that these girls are more important than our own lives. Your companion takes advantage of your opening to punch the man on the other side, the weak link. I mean, we kind of ignored the man in the second, once we figured out what we're going to do, we kind of ignored him. The woman in white suddenly stops. You counterattack with a kick that disarms her of the katana and slams her against the wall. In the distance, you hear the echo of an agitated and trembling voice, the voice of an old man. My duty, that's all I've ever done. Look at her, she's the proof of my loyalty. But you, to whom have you sold yourself this time? All those fancy, empty words about pride. Huh, all you ever wanted was nothing but a whip. Before he can even finish his words, his head hits the floor with a loud bang. Your companion grips the old man's head, smashing it into the cold tiles over and over and over again. His disfigured face is unable to make a single noise. The only sound in the hallway are the splashes of his head falling into a puddle of his own blood, painting the walls and floor crimson. And following his destiny, the woman in white collapses wordlessly. The entire hall falls silent once more, bringing the battle to an end. You're lying on a park bench. A girl you've never seen before is kneeling on top of you. You can't move. Her hands wrap around your neck, preventing you from resisting. Good morning. Or night, considering the time. How did it feel to sleep on the pavement? The street didn't seem very comfortable, so we brought you to the park. She caresses your neck with slender fingers, adjusting her grip until she finds the perfect place to squeeze. There is a certain finesse to her gestures, like a cat playing with its prey. You were having a long and peaceful nap while I was... Do you know what I was thinking? The pressure applied by her hands slowly increases. Maintaining her sweet tone, she leans closer. How would we have turned out if things had been different? The once considerate caress is now a murderous stranglehold. You can't breathe. I tried, trust me, I tried. After discovering what you did, the very sight of that face of yours utterly disgusts me. But that wasn't enough for you. Now you're here too. For that reason, and for everything you've so thoughtlessly taken from me without even realizing. I was gonna say, she looks a bit like the woman in the cape with her hair cut off. I hate you. She squeezes mercilessly with an inhuman strength that could easily snap your neck. Filthy murderous rat, you dare show your face before me now, in this manner? We were supposed to never meet again. We were done. Damn blood. I'm the one who must win. The one who will remain. I don't deserve this. I cannot wait any longer. I'll take what belongs to me, and I'll show this goddamn world it cannot keep stepping on me any longer. But until then, you better survive. Keep yourself alive, because I'll be back to finish what we started and fulfill the plan, once and for all. Don't you forget it. You owe me. And in exchange, I won't forget. After exiting the hospital, your companion suddenly stops in place. In front of him is an unbelievable sight, an enormous black monolith stretching endlessly towards the sky. Indescribable feelings bubble up from the roiling depths of your soul, leaving you hypnotized and in awe. Until the figure before you finally speaks. This is not what I expected, but the plan remains unchanged. From now on, don't be reckless. This world is real. We are trapped here. The extraordinary capital of this kingdom, Maya. The very end of the world. And where dreams come true. The lights go out as you lose consciousness. All that remains is the memory of long blonde hair under the silver blanket of a beautiful, bejeweled sky. Yep. I figured that's the perfect point in time to throw that in. Okay, the demo's not over. I thought it would be over here. Well, whatever. Good morning, may I? You're startled by a knock and the voice of a boy. You've been awake since dawn, absent-mindedly sitting on your bed in a daze. That is quite the luxurious room. You take a while to compose yourself, reorienting. That doesn't look like a word. Reorientating yourself to your surroundings. Before doing anything else, you first pick up the black robe hanging on a nearby chair and put it on. Once you feel ready, you open the door and peek into the hall to see a young man standing before your door. His gaze wanders, apparently unsure where he should look. Good morning. Did you sleep well? Sink. Yes, Sink. My bad. The boy looks to his side, suspiciously glancing at the room next door. He then redirects his gaze towards you, a big smile appearing on his face. Did you sleep well, Sink? Yeah, I guess. The room was so fancy, it had everything. The only thing I'm missing is a mirror in the bathroom. Probably a girl. Assuming I'm still the woman in black, but I'm just going to give her that voice because she's probably going to have the most lines. Oh yeah, that. We'll get you one later on. You tilt your head, trying to get a better look at the nervous boy's face, but you're interrupted by a voice approaching from down the hall. What are you doing here so soon, Helio? You were supposed to wait for me. Ah, Violet, good morning. I didn't want to bother you, and I had nothing better to do, so... Did you get any sleep? I slept like a baby despite all the clamor last night. You know me. Really? I know yesterday was kind of chaotic, so it's okay if you want to lie down a little more. I appreciate it, honey, but that wouldn't be right of me. Unless you were actually looking to spend some time alone with Sink. No, it's not like that. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't I wouldn't mind. Violet laughs graciously and inches closer to you, a secretive smile appearing on her face. The kid is just compensating for last night. We hope you don't mind. We had quite the scare when he found you. He has good intentions, though. Both sided with you the moment you arrived, and we voted for you too, so there's no need to worry. Violet sneakily winks at you. Even though you nod back, you're visibly confused and keep some distance from her. What did you tell her? That you look lovely when you blush, my dear. Oh my, don't look at me like that. Let's go, we don't have all day. Goodness gracious, as if I could simply go back to sleep and leave you two by yourselves. The pair leads you through several long halls. At last, the three of you arrive at the large lobby, which seems to be the main hub of the castle. High ceilings, exquisite and lush decorations, but what catches your eye the most are the numerous security cameras posted throughout the entire building. Distracted from looking up at the cameras, you're startled when you look back down to see. Ah! With a completely blank expression, the man covered in blood approaches you and asks in the most neutral of tones, "Who is this person accompanying you, and why is she screaming?" "What do you mean, why am I screaming?" "This is Sink, the girl from yesterday." "Oh, that, The man sighs, not even bothering to hide his annoyance and disappointment. "Please forgive him, Sink. Rue can sometimes be too honest." "Am I the only one who finds this weird?" "Not at all. A hooded figure discovered in the middle of the night during a power outage. I don't know why they let you stay." "Rue, honey, can we leave that for the meeting? She was talking about something else." "About what, exactly?" Violet points at the crimson stains all over Rue's body. "Oh, this is nothing. I was just making breakfast." "Tomato sauce?" "It's blood." "Were you preparing meat then?" "Milk and cereal." I love him already. "I don't even know where to begin with that." "I hope you were a little bit more careful with the fire this time, Rue." "Don't sweat it. There's only been 3 fires and 2 of them are under control." "What about the 3rd one?" "I'm a bit more worried about the fact that he said under control instead of extinguished." Rue shrugs nonchalantly. Nobody seems to care despite the self-evident gravity of the situation. In fact, Violet seems to find it amusing. She grabs Rue's sleeve with 2 fingers, trying to avoid the red stains, and pulls him towards the kitchen. "I guess I'll have to go take care of this myself, as usual." "Oh, Rue, what would you ever do without me?" "Do you want us to come with you, Violet? I can help if you need it." Violet shoos him away with her free hand, not even bothering to turn her head back. "You two take good care of Sink. It wouldn't be very polite of us to just leave her alone." "Who is you two?" "Us two?" You and Helio exchange confused looks. Both of you gulp simultaneously and then slowly turn around. "Hi." "Ah!"
"Huh? Is this your usual way of greeting people?"
"How long have you been standing there, Columbine?" I like her already as well. The mysterious girl brushes her hair aside, exposing a surprised face. She then points a blasé finger at herself.
"You asking me?"
"Who else?"
I've been here since the beginning. You're the ones making a racket."
Between the mad cook and the castle's ghost, I think I have enough reasons to yell.
"I was beginning to think your screaming was some kind of weird foreign greeting or something."
Pretty sure no one would ever greet someone like that. Columbine brings her face closer to yours with an unsettling sluggishness, her eyes slowly focusing on yours.
"Oh, true. You had amnesia or something,
The girl keeps getting closer until your faces are almost touching.
"In any case, you're now part of this castle. I did actually vote in your favor, so let's get along, right?"
A heavy silence falls upon the room, and Helio tries to look for the right moment to interject. His efforts are unnecessary, however. Columbine jumps behind you and uses you as a shield with surprising swiftness when a new person enters the scene.
"Don't you hide from me, Columbine."
Evidently in high spirits, this new girl circles around you, a cat-like whimsical expression on her face as she attempts to capture Columbine.
"Can I borrow her for a second?"
"Yes, please." Columbine looks at you with sad puppy dog eyes and then darts away so quickly that you wonder if she really was a ghost.
"Bummer, she ran away again."
Did you all collectively decide to make the worst possible first impression, or what? Whatever. Sink, this is Rosemary.
"Miss Rosemary was my grandmother's name, so let's avoid that. Just call me Rose, without the Mary, please."
"It's a pleasure to meet..." You inspect the girl from head to toe. She smiles proudly, giving off an intelligent and elegant vibe, but she can't hide the dark bags under her eyes. You are slightly afraid to ask about the eye bags, but she notices your gaze and answers nonchalantly. "This?
All in a day's work. I had to stay awake all night trying to fix the power outage.
Thank you again, Rose. We're lucky to have you.
Don't mind it. I decided to stay here, so it's my job. I'll send you the invoice another day.
Oh yes, Sync, you may not notice, but Rose is actually quite famous. Does her name ring any bells?
Putting aside her behavior just now, she's a genius recognized around the world. One of the most brilliant minds of the century. And I'm also a great beauty, as well as incredibly humble. Unbelievable, right?
Rose's words are followed by a cute twirl to show off her figure. You don't know how to react, which only makes her smile wider. Then, what was the issue with the power outage? Was it an accident?
No, I would say it was deliberate. The power going off is one thing, but having the emergency generators fail too? Too much of a coincidence.
Isn't there a chance the system was in bad shape? Lacking maintenance, or...
Trying to stand up for the new girl, huh?
Helio falls quiet, but he glances in your direction. After an awkward moment of silence, Rose tries to correct herself.
It's not like I'm blaming you. From what I could determine, the emergency generators must have been tampered with from the inside. That's why I refrained from voting last night.
I don't mind. I've had the entire night to calm down and think it over. I understand you guys don't have it easy either.
You were saved by just one vote, which was quite a miracle, all things considered.
Even though it wasn't her intention, Rose's answers enable you to change the subject. How many people are in this castle? Helio hesitates briefly before answering. Including you, there are currently 7 of us. Why do you ask? Nothing, I was just thinking about the voting patterns. The one person I haven't seen yet must have voted against me. Her expression mischievous, Rose taps a finger on her lips. Helio sighs, realizing he said too much.
Whoops, too much info. There goes the whole votes remaining secret thing. That the boss would mind.
The boss? He doesn't trust me? He may have voted against you, but it's nothing serious. He might be our leader, but any important issues are discussed among all of us.
That's what we say, but we always end up leaving the final say to him. We refer to him as our boss because he's a good person, so you don't have to worry.
I hope you're right.
No need to wait any longer. Here he is.
A tall, middle-aged man with a serious expression on his face strides down the wide stairs. His voice is intimidatingly deep as he addresses those present. Heliotrope.
Good morning.
His serious and unruffled eyes switch to the girl next to you. Rosemary.
At your service, boss. I hope you slept well.
The man nods. He turns away, about to leave the room, when he realizes he skipped over you. He doubles back and looks you in the eye. And you are... He takes a long look at you before asserting with a confident smile. Thing.
What?
Living being? Oh, you aren't mistaken, but... Human being, maybe? I'm not sure who you're trying to convince, but I suppose you're getting closer. Woman! Seriously? Sync, her name is Sync.
Don't you remember that hooded enemy from last night, boss?
Oh yeah, that. What a night. And forgive me, John.
I just told you her name's Sync.
Hey, I'm just kidding. What better way to start the day? The man's voice radiates warmth, a stark contrast to his previous intimidating tone. He casually leans over you, his fingertips grasping the tip of your hood. Welcome, Sync. You can call me Thistle. Boss is too impersonal, and I honestly don't enjoy it much either. Surprised, you nod. He smiles back, but then... He yanks the tip of your hood over your face, leaving you in the dark. He chuckles as you vexedly readjust your hood. But once you see the 3 of them laughing, you decide to let it go. Those weren't the most normal of introductions, but maybe it's the quirks themselves that managed to calm you down. You let out a breath of relief you weren't even aware you had been holding. Now that you've gotten to know everyone, you can't help but wonder why such a small group lives in such a huge castle. You have many doubts about this entire situation, but it's difficult for you to open up to new people so quickly. They all seem to follow a routine that takes them from one place to another, apparently preparing for the meeting Violet had previously mentioned. The group members take their seats around a large dining table. Some spots are left unoccupied, but everyone seems to know their place. You hesitate for a moment. At last you pick a random empty chair and sit down. What's the current status?
Ready to roll. I checked the cameras and the security systems are up and running, so we can finally relax after last night's disaster. Breakfast is ready. Feel free to grab a bite anytime. What happened with the fire?
All under control.
You keep avoiding the word extinguished.
In any case, I would like a summary of everything that happened so that we can all be on the same page.
I think I can handle that, boss.
Rose raises her hand as if in a class at school. She clears her throat while the rest of the group all listen intently.
The power outage from last night has been temporarily fixed, so the electricity should be working like normal. We're currently using the emergency generators until we can find out what went wrong with the main system. The failure was indeed suspicious, but we cannot know for sure if it was a mechanical failure or the result of someone's sabotage. Even if it was the latter, we have no video evidence, so anybody could have done it.
Rose opens her mouth to continue speaking, but Thistle interrupts her. I imagine the blind spot in the surveillance no longer exists.
Indeed, I took care of it personally, in fact. I honestly don't know how it happened in the first place. That mistake is going to make it extra difficult to create a list of suspects. It's not like that list is too long right now.
Columbine sneakily glances in your direction. Although her voice was just a whisper, she manages to direct the whole room's attention onto you.
Wait a second, there's another possibility, right? There could still be other people hiding somewhere. Sync is proof of that.
A mix of murmurs and grumbles fills the hall, all sharing the same lack of conviction.
We've already discussed that many times, dear. You know there's nobody else alive on this side of the river besides us. Even if there was, we control all the food and water. That's without even mentioning all the security systems.
But it happened. Don't we have living proof of that? Sync said she remembers something like a hospital, and none of us here have visited that area.
We all know who was in charge of scouting that zone. That's the only reason we're giving this girl the benefit of the doubt. Once could maybe be a miracle. Two would be impossible. The traitor.
You can feel the group's spirits plummet at the mention of the word traitor. Even Helio assumes a defensive stance with his arms crossed and avoids the subject. Even if the risk is small, it's never a waste of time to take precautionary measures while we keep our main focus on restoring power. The emergency system won't stay up forever, so that should be our main priority right now. So, Rosemary, what do we need to repair it?
The girl takes a second to think it over before answering. We could always take a trip out to the electric substation to see what went wrong.
You're going to hate me for this, but could you go there immediately? I know you haven't slept much, but the longer it takes, the more likely we are to lose any possible evidence.
Sleep? Who needs that? But if that is the case, in exchange I want to select who comes with me.
I see no problem with that.
Then...
Rose leans back on her chair with a smirk. Everyone else carefully follows the direction her finger is pointing.
You Sync, I want you to come with me.
What? At this proposition, everyone's faces are uniformly surprised. Some stand up and others burst out laughing. Thistle is forced to quickly take action to control the chaos. That's quite hasty, but sure, you can go with Sync if you wish.
You're going to let her go that easily, huh?
As long as we respect the regulations, there shouldn't be any issues. At this moment, not only must we gain Sync's trust, but Sync must earn ours as well. Thistle smiles as he addresses you. Helio stands up, slamming his hands on the table.
I will accompany them as the first person.
Sorry, Helio, I had someone else in mind.
Someone else? It shouldn't matter as long as they are free, right?
I'm afraid we'll have to make an exception this time. I want Rue to be the third.
What? Why me?
Because you have extensive experience in this field. Isn't that right, Detective?
Why in the world did I let everyone know? It's a drag, but I guess there's nobody better than me to keep an eye on the totally not suspicious individual here.
Rue points you out brazenly. The case. I would rather you focus on the case.
Aren't they one and the same?
All that talk about trust seems to have fallen apart before it even had the chance to get off the ground. After some more give and take, everyone eventually calms down, except for you. That is all. If no one has anything else to add... Thistle calls a conclusion to the meeting. Meanwhile, you're utterly overwhelmed. You look around helplessly at the others' faces while trying to figure out what to say. Great. Then we can formally declare this meeting...
Wait a moment.
The group is already starting to stand up from their seats when your trembling voice escapes your lips. They immediately turn their gazes to you.
What about me?
Numerous questions circle through your head, making it impossible for you to find the words you need.
My memories. I can't remember anything. I don't know what's going on. Where are all the people?
The hall is still. Nobody dares answer. Your voice quavers as you continue.
I don't even know what these regulations you keep talking about are. I just don't know what's happening. I don't understand why all of you are taking it so lightly, as if this all...
Nobody told you, right? You shake your head. Thistle lets out a sigh before answering. Ideally, we should have started from there. The problem is, we don't have much time for that now. The electric substation is the #1 priority. Look, both Rue and Rosemary can take care of some of your questions on the way there. Then once you come back, I promise I will answer any other questions. The duo reaffirms Thistle's promise. Resigned and exhausted from that outburst, you reluctantly accept their proposal. There's just one thing you need to know before anything else. The regulations we follow in this castle. You'll naturally learn them as you live here, but there are 2 basic ones you need to know. The first one you might have already guessed. We can only leave the castle in groups of 3. No more, no less. Meanwhile, all the other members must remain inside. Everyone seems convinced by Thistle's words, but none of this makes much sense to you. And now the second and most important regulation. Thistle puts his hands under his hips, confidently puffing out his chest. For as long as we remain within these castle walls, we must collaborate to stay alive. And that includes you now. Simple, right? You don't answer. They're finishing up the meeting anyway, so it doesn't seem to matter. I won't forget. With that unusual farewell, the group dissolves. Deep in thought, you find yourself unable to get up from your seat, still silently trying to assimilate everything you just went through. Especially the second regulation. As long as we remain within these castle walls, why so specific? An eternal achievement.
Sink, the truth is...
This place is enveloped in a veil of silence. The streets are clear of traffic, noise, or any signs of life whatsoever.
I'm really tired. I didn't sleep at all.
The reign of emptiness is a menace in and of itself. You have no idea what might be lying in wait around each corner, what might be hiding in each swaying shadow.
Therefore, good night.
But the same cannot be said of your companions on this trip. Are you seriously just going to let go of the wheel like that? Rosemary chuckles, breaking her playing possum act. With the threat of a crash looming ever closer, you're forced to scramble from your passenger seat and grab the wheel. You avoid a tragedy thanks to your quick reflexes and cool head, but it seems you are the only one in this vehicle who is even remotely worried. Careful there, you made some donuts drop on the floor. Thank God there's the 13-second rule.
What in the world is the 13th? Wait, how can you just lay there so calmly?
What are you going to do? Find me? It's not like we're going to run anyone over.
We could crash, just saying.
Oh yeah, true. It wouldn't be the first time.
This kind of crucial information should be disclosed before we drive, but... It's okay, Sink. We're just trying to have a good time here. Don't be such a party pooper. Weren't you sleeping, and could you please take the wheel before we all die in a horrible inferno? Doesn't seem to me like you're doing too bad for your first time. If you were here when the incident started, you would never have believed what some people got up to. Without anyone around to tell us no, we had quite a bit of fun, playing bumper cars with real cars.
Or setting cars on fire and enjoying the ensuing explosions.
Long-jump competitions with cars.
Long-jump competitions with flaming cars.
Remember that time I got all those cars onto the roofs of buildings to test how fast they hit the ground? All to show these dumbasses how they all fall at the same speed.
What have cars done to deserve that kind of treatment from you? Ignoring how you're barely managing to steer the car from the passenger seat, Rose leans her chair back, rests her head on her hands and lets out a deep sigh.
But of course I imagine you're still in the raving panic phase.
I could get over it if you at least tried to take your foot off the gas pedal during these turns.
Sink, it's completely different for us. All this madness started so long ago. How long has it been? Like 2 or 3 months? I've lost track, to be honest.
Yeah, around that time, I think. Considering how almost all the food is either on the verge of expiring or has already gone bad. There's donuts too? Most likely, yes.
Maybe you should check the expiration date before you gobble up the next one. The vehicle starts to slow down. Rose gazes out the window, watching the empty buildings flash by. It happened little by little, without any kind of warning. People simply vanished. The city became a ghost of its former self, all without anyone noticing. In time, there were none left except for a fortunate few, or unfortunate, depending on your perspective. We refer to this phenomenon as the incident. Can you understand how we felt? Just like that, everything we believed in vanished. Nothing we'd done mattered anymore. It was like a game had been reset and the few remaining players had to start from scratch in a sandbox city. You can imagine the initial chaos without any kind of authority enforcing order. It was only a matter of time before the riots, the robberies, and the killings. We had a lot of that last one here. At least that's how the disgusting urban legends go. But despite all that, we managed to bring peace. We took shelter in that castle, we fortified our defenses so nobody could cross the river to the south or the mountains to the north. If we're safe here now, it's because of the blood, sweat, and tears spilled to forge this small alliance. But what if there are more people hidden out there? Could someone cross the river and attack us? We don't really know. Of course, no place in this world is perfectly safe, but we're ready for anything that comes. We have done our best to earn this well-deserved rest, and it is our regulations which serve as the foundation for a mutual trust that would otherwise be impossible. Rose turns your way, showing you a warm smile. That soon becomes acidic. That's why we have the right to fool around as much as we want, got it? Rose floors the gas pedal. For some reason, a veritable avalanche of donuts starts pouring down from above your head, burying you alive. But despite this mountainous challenge, you somehow managed to prove your worth as a driver, as in the car and its contents didn't end up flattened against a wall. The other two even applaud your feat. In place of applause, I would much prefer the two of you to stop being savages for just a single moment. Getting out of the car, you find yourself in the outskirts of the city. You've parked in what seems to be a residential area with large gardens. Peering into the distance, you can even see a wall of mountains obscuring the horizon. We've arrived. This seems to be a normal suburban neighborhood full of medium-sized houses. Definitely not what you were expecting. Still, the surprise pales in comparison to the anomaly in the sky that's been plaguing your mind since you left the castle. You cannot help but look back in the direction whence you came. A large black monolith towering up infinitely into the endless sky. That's... Oh, the monolith where the palace once was. It's pretty close to the castle where we lived, didn't you know? It just popped out of the ground when the incident happened. Nobody had any idea how or even when it came to be, but there it is. I'm sure you have many questions about it, but it's not like anyone here knows the answers either, so let's just leave them for later. The monolith appears completely out of place. Anyone would be astonished to see something so massive and otherworldly in the middle of a modern city. Or at least that's how it should be, because in your heart, more than shock, you seem to feel... Sink? No, it's nothing. Your attention shifts back to the others, especially Rue, who looks to be focusing his gaze on something. What's up, Rue? Sugar overdose? As if that's even possible. Rue scans his surroundings, his arms crossed. Oh, trying to look cool by showing off your super detective skills? Rose pretends to smoke a cigarette, makes her voice as gravelly as she can, and gazes into the distance. I've been to millions of crime scenes like these before. I can see everything that happened at the first glance. Some people call it instinct, I call it experience. I have a hunch that this investigation could become... electrifying. Terrible. Hey, that one was actually funny. You get it, right? You know, since we've arrived at the election... If you explain the joke, I'll cut you. Was that supposed to be an imitation of me? Duh, of course. Well, at least it would be if you actually did your work. You're not even wearing a trench coat. What a disgrace of a detective. I could point out a lot of things wrong with that statement. For starters, we haven't actually reached the substation yet. Oh, you're wrong about that. This is the electric substation. Ask the super detective if you don't believe me. Super? Forget it. While the duo is busy squabbling, you decide to take a closer look. With a careful eye, you manage to spot the facade of a house that's somewhat larger than the rest. It's camouflaged, hiding a completely different interior. If you get closer, you'll discover how the windows are fake as well. There are even ventilation coils hidden here and there. Camouflaged substations are more common than you think, for two common reasons. The first is aesthetics. Imagine an ugly industrial building disrupting the neighborhood's vibe.
Well, that makes sense, I suppose. What's the second reason? What is the purpose of camouflage?
To hide things, I guess. A substation is a very important building since it supplies most of the city's electricity. Camouflage is one method of taking precautions against vandalism. That's why one of the boss's first decisions was to secure all maps and information on crucial locations like this.
But the power outage still happened. Well, any enemy's first thought would be to attack the electrical system. The only unusual part is how nobody dared to do so before this. Unless something changed. Rue casts his gaze on you, clear disdain in his eyes.
Can we go in now? The place won't investigate itself. Let's go, super detective. Break the lock and use your X-ray vision or something.
Seriously, who gave you these ideas about detectives? The moment the three of you enter, Rose breaks formation and takes off on her own investigation with surprising speed. She strides quickly along the big machines, connectors, cables, and assorted paraphernalia you can't even name. You want to ask if there is anything you can do to help, but you are hesitant to interrupt her intense focus. In the end, you silently stay a few feet away from her to avoid interfering. Meanwhile, Rue disappeared without you even noticing, leaving you stranded in the seemingly never-ending awkward situation.
Good news, Sink. The chances of you being the culprit have dropped significantly. Aren't you glad?
Rose hangs her arm around your neck, whispering directly into your ear.
It seems a short circuit left the entire city without any power for a few seconds. Then the circuit breaker was tripped and everything returned to normal quickly, except for the zone around the castle.
What does that mean then?
It means I know where the short circuit must have occurred. East of the castle, not that far away from the castle itself. That's why I'm mostly in the clear. You were discovered approaching the castle from the west wall. It would have been quite a task to short that circuit and then loop around the entire castle in such a short amount of time, all without anybody noticing.
I have an alibi then.
Aren't I the best of the best? Though we still have to figure out how exactly the short circuit happened, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The line system is old, but it's not that easy to create a short circuit. All the cables are underground, so it's pretty well protected.
But I wouldn't be in the clear if I managed to do it from a distance, or if...
Sink.
Rose retracts her arm from her shoulder and backs away, looking at you with a face full of bewilderment.
Are you stupid?
What do you mean?
For heaven's sake, I'm trying to help you out and cheer you up, but all you do is complicate everything.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't really think that through.
And you just blurted it out so easily. How do you all manage to stay so calm all the time? You're driving too. Even with all your nagging and complaining, you were as cool as a cucumber.
You all? Who else are you talking about? Rose lets out a sigh, taking a second to gather her thoughts.
No one in particular. I suppose that under these circumstances it isn't so strange to come across people like you. Look, putting yourself in a risky situation and blurting out things that make your own case worse is, not normal to say the least.
That doesn't mean I don't care what happens to me. Of course I care, it's just... Rose plays with your cheeks, trying to squeeze your face into a smile.
Come on, you're in a much better place compared to 5 minutes ago. Cheer up. I'll find you if you don't.
You're right, but let me go. There's a lot more to do still.
Exactly. You're still missing all the praise and thousands thanks you have yet to sing to your brilliant and incredibly beautiful savior.
I mean, aside from that.
What a bore. Alright, I'll spare you for now, but I vow to the heavens that I'll bring that gratitude out of you another day. For now, it should suffice if we simply take a look around. Our job is just to check all the rooms and machines, so we can confirm no tampering happened here. I don't want them to make me come all the way back here just because I didn't give 100% of my attention.
Makes sense. I think Rue was already on the whole checking mission when he split off from us before.
Alright then, let's divide the work to finish as soon as possible. And if you see Rue, tell him I'm done with my task.
Rose turns around to leave the room, but you stop her before she can go. Hey Rose.
Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you, and what else?
Just thank you.
Boo, for a second I thought I'd managed to cure your dullness. Still no improvement, it seems.
Not long after splitting up, you find Rue in a remote room, focused on some large tubes and cables wrapping around those machines you can't name. He casts a short, quick glance at you, and then his attention immediately returns to the cables. Rose is done. She managed to isolate the zone where the problem must have happened. Best of all, it seems I have an alibi now, so... Rue doesn't seem to care about what you're saying. His intense study of these objects piques your interest. What are you looking at? Rue sighs and scratches behind his ears, obviously annoyed. Can we leave then? You nod, but can't take your eyes off his strange and uncharacteristic behavior. Something wrong? Nothing, I think, but haven't you noticed something's off here? You step closer to Rue, but you don't notice anything abnormal about those cables. What do you mean? You haven't realized it yet? You shuffle closer and closer, wondering if it might be an issue with perspective. When you've moved right next to him, your shoulder almost bumping into his. I was talking about you. Out of the blue, he grabs your wrist, his grip painfully tight. The world before your eyes spins as he pulls you into a perfect grapple hold, making you stagger and lose your balance. He twists you around before you can resist, until you are forced to face the machines on the wall. Exerting complete control over your arm, he slowly drags it towards one of the unisolated cables he had been focusing on just now. From your head's current position locked under his arm, you can't see the cables. You resist his pull with all your strength, all while trying to convince him of your innocence. Wait a moment here. Rose said that... That doesn't matter, Sink. You yell as loud as you can, struggling in every possible way, but he lifts you up until your feet are barely touching the ground, until you don't have the support to apply any force. The problem isn't so much anything you did, per se. It's your very existence. Everything we've built, the trust we had. Where is all that now? You just had to come out of nowhere, and with you, you brought the return of a possibility, one we had finally managed to discard after all this time. Now, it's just a matter of time before doubt is born amongst us, before the shattering of the status quo we worked so hard to create. Don't bother asking if you're innocent or guilty. You're better off thinking of a reason why I, or anyone else, shouldn't end your life at any moment we wish. Your body trembles, your supply of adrenaline beginning to run out. There's likely not much time left before he forces your fingers to touch the cables. The justice you are so used to is over, Sink. Welcome to the real world. Sweat drips down your hands, your breathing accelerates to the point where you're gasping for breath. Your eyes unconsciously squeeze shut. Rue's grip remains deathly firm. His attitude all this time had you completely fooled. Next time you need to be more careful. That is, if there is a next time, since you're about to feel your fingertips graze the cables.
There you are. Has Sink filled you in, Rue?
Rue lets you go unceremoniously. You barely stop yourself from collapsing to the floor. You open your eyes again, attempting to blink away the sting of sweat. Your blurry gaze darts between Rose, waiting at the door at the other side of the room, and Rue, his face as casual and unconcerned as ever. Yeah, I was telling her to be careful while we investigate. It'd be troublesome if we had any accidents now. His back turned to Rose, Rue sneers at you, his eyes cold. You instinctively back away from him. You open your mouth to speak, but Rose is ahead of you.
Do your talking on the way home. I've had enough. All I want right now is to go back to the loving comfort of my bed.
The girl walks away before you can even say anything, leaving you and Rue alone once again. You're not so stupid as to stay behind after what had just happened, and you immediately run to the door. But behind you, Rue doesn't seem nervous, concerned, or worried in the slightest. Sink. He calls your name and uses one hand to point at the other. You can now see clearly. He doesn't have any kind of gloves or protection on. Then he grabs one of the uninsulated cables on the wall. Surprise. Nothing happens. Nothing but a slight mocking smile appearing on Rue's face. I couldn't even if I wanted. With slow steps you ascend the magnificent spiral stairs. They seem to have no end, coiling all the way up to the sky. In silence you let Rue go ahead of you. Finally the staircase comes to an end. You have reached the last door and highest point of the entire castle. A flash of light briefly illuminates his silhouette, and a beautiful urban landscape comes into view.
From the tower keep, you can see the expanse of the entire city before your eyes. This place is the second highest point in the city, second only to the Monolith. Its curved black walls don't match the rest of the landscape. The sight of the Monolith renders you speechless. It is comprised of strange flat surfaces, jet black in color, with an alien texture, ostensibly from another dimension or planet. Rue's voice finally brings you back to reality as he starts his report of your findings at the electrical substation. Next to him stands Thistle, simultaneously listening and using binoculars to look out into the distance.
Any estimate on when we'll pinpoint the method and identify the one responsible?
Not much longer, Rose said. Something about how it's possible to triangulate the issue. Or whatever.
I see.
Aren't you going to say anything?
Good job.
I expected a few complaints about how I'm not being very helpful or clear.
If you already know, why bother?
True.
Thistle sighs and offers the binoculars to Rue. Tell me what you see.
Binoculars.
Very funny. Thistle grabs Rue's shoulder and turns him to face the correct direction. South. You have to look south, just like always.
And how am I supposed to know that? Orienting yourself nowadays is hard.
Rue follows Thistle's finger. From your position a few steps back, you also try to look for whatever you're supposed to be seeing. But the answer is simpler than you expected.
I see nothing.
Exactly. Rue remains silent for a few seconds before Thistle shrugs and resumes the conversation. It's too soon to speak, but I'm just telling you so you can try your best. There may not be much time left.
You know perfectly well I'm the least troublesome of the bunch.
And I trust it will remain that way. Back to business. The good news is that Sink isn't guilty. Am I wrong?
Did I mention any of that?
Thistle's face hardens, serious and cold to the point where it would give anyone the chills. Rue, my eyes and ears can reach further than you expect.
Oh, really?
What you had for breakfast? I know. We all had the same. That fire you started this morning? I also know.
Oh no, impossible. The kitchen is still filled with the extinguisher's foam.
I even know the color of your socks this morning.
Yeah. Oh. We just arrived. They're the same.
I also know that x equals minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a. Also, there's the small detail that if Sink was guilty, Rosemary wouldn't be gone, nor would she have left in charge someone able to sleep while standing upright.
Huh? Oh, yeah, whatever, boss. Whatever you just said.
Alright, let's go with whatever I just said then. Thanks, Rue.
Thistle.
You finally cut off this absurd dialogue, attracting the attention of this supposed leader. The attitudes of these two would make anyone livid, but you somehow managed to keep yourself calm. How can you two just joke around in this situation, and joke about me even though I'm literally right in front of you? I don't really understand the issue. Would you prefer to be locked in a cell?
You know perfectly well I don't mean that.
And take it easy like the rest of us. We're treating you this way so you can relax and not feel paranoid about us talking about you behind your back.
Take it easy? Do you know what Rue tried to do when I was taking it easy before?
I know. I was the one who asked him to do it.
Thistle doesn't let you finish. His abrupt interruption leaves you speechless. It wasn't easy, but she finally got scared. It was obvious she wasn't paying any attention. As if those kinds of cables would just be left out there in the open without any kind of protection. She didn't even realize I wasn't wearing any gloves. Her reaction was hilarious.
Do you really think we could gain anything by sending the newbie to investigate? We wanted to test you.
Test me?
While Rue here looks rather deadpan, he's actually pretty good at reading other people. He knows if someone is lying, if they're surprised, or
if they're afraid of death. So that car ride and those cables.
We don't just need to know if you're innocent, Sink. We first have to prove you're human.
Human? Of course I am.
Now you're the one looking for a punchline to this joke. A punchline that never comes. If she's acting, we'd have a genius on our hands.
A performance worthy of an Academy Award.
But that's good. Now I can keep my word and give you some explanations. Are you ready?
Thistle opens his arms to highlight the surroundings before starting his ardent speech.
You probably know that one day, without any warning, people began to vanish from this world, one by one. And among the few survivors, there's one peculiarity. Half of them are not human. They're tulpas. That last word drills itself into your brain. It resonates vibrantly, an echo with an unknown, untraceable source. People who look just like you and I. In fact, they're indistinguishable from humans except for one thing. Their immortality. Most of the time.
Immortality? How is that possible?
Shoot them and they'll bleed like any other, but then after a while they will rise back up again as if nothing happened. Poison their food and they'll be knocked out in an instant, but they will then wake up as if it was just a simple nap. Cut them into pieces and they'll reappear from around the corner. What's left of their previous body simply dissolves into thin air. I know it sounds unrealistic, but we've seen it with our own eyes.
I think we still have the video around here. A bit gory, mind you.
No need for details. They feel pain like any other, but at death's door they have this miraculous ability to recover. As you can imagine, it is hard to prove who's human or tulpa without first breaking a few basic and universal rights.
Wait, let's suppose I believe all of this, about the tulpa or whatever. Are they dangerous or something?
Not as much as any other human, if that's what worries you. Traditionally, the tulpa has always been considered a legend. A spell that allows you to create a new and independent being from your subconscious mind. A body with its own free will, we could say. Can you believe it? Being able to use your imagination to bring forth a life practically identical to a human, which exists separated from you. It sounds like a big fat lie, or the crazy dream of a maniac magician, but since all this started, we've seen tulpas emerge from every human. Every one of the very few humans remaining in this world witnessed the appearance of their own tulpa, without any apparent cause or help. They were no longer just a part of the human imagination. They are real, tangible, and intelligent.
To tell them apart, we call the human member of the pair the host, since it is from their mind that the tulpa comes to life.
You're telling me that half of the people alive are actually tulpas, even here in the castle?
From what I know, Thistle could be one, or myself, or even you, Sink.
There's one little detail worth considering. Even if the tulpas are real, they are, let's say, incomplete. Right now, the tulpa and host are bonded. Each depends on the other. Their lives are intertwined. If the human dies, the tulpa dies with him, and vice versa.
Now, do you understand the significance of our group having an odd number of people after you came along? Ignoring his irritatingly passive-aggressive attitude, you focus on trying to piece together such an implausible puzzle. Then the regulations only leaving in groups of 3 and avoiding conflict in the castle.
If 3 people go out, we are sure that at least one person of the trio is not part of a host tulpa pair. It would therefore be stupid for a host tulpa pair to do anything suspicious. Everyone else still in the castle would realize immediately if one of the 3 was killed, since their counterpart in the castle would also die on the spot. The second regulation is just a consequence of the first one, something obvious that works by itself. Since we don't know who is or isn't immortal, that works as an element of deterrence as long as we all share a common place to live. Even if a duel started, the rest of us could act quickly to respond.
A duel? What?
My apologies. There's so much to cover that I forgot to clarify that.
Rue looks at Thistle for a second before shrugging his shoulders and leaving him to continue.
You see, Sink, the tulpa does have flaws in its immortality. There are 3 ways they can actually die. The first method, as I previously mentioned, is killing their host, the human counterpart. Human dies, tulpa dies. The second is even more simple, just waiting. Every tulpa has a limited lifespan. They are immortal, yes, but only for as long as their batteries last. The third and final way is related to the first. A host or tulpa can challenge another host or tulpa to a duel where both pairs will participate. In this 2 versus 2 duel, the tulpas will lose their immortality. A battle to the death that cannot be refused and will not end until one of the parties is fully annihilated. The host and the tulpa share the same life during this duel. Their pain, their damage, and even their senses both start to grasp what the other feel, and in the same way, they share the same destiny. The most common of these 3 methods is the last, the duel. First because it is more honourable, but also because it is necessary. Thistle nods, smiling as if there was anything in his words worth smiling at. Why? Why do we have to play along with these duels or regulations? Aren't there so many other things more important to do right now? Like trying to figure out what's happening, or where everyone who disappeared went. I wish it were that easy, Sing. The two men look away into the distance. For the first time you notice the slump in their shoulders from the pressure. Thistle takes the binoculars from Rue and hands them to you. I'm pretty sure the monolith caught your eye already. It takes you a while to react until Thistle raises an eyebrow and offers his binoculars. You may have forgotten all about it due to the amnesia, but for us it is so real, so authentic, and induces fear just thinking about it. And one look at the monolith is all we need to be reminded of this reality. Written in ardent characters that shine white in the sunlight, you see them, the words sculpted into the black walls, enumerated simply. 1. For each human a unique tulpa in accordance with their wishes. 2. If the human host dies, its tulpa shall die too, and vice versa. 3. The tulpa's lifespan is short, but can be extended by absorbing their fellow tulpa in a duel. 4. During a duel, the tulpa and the human share the same life, and the former will lose their immortality. 5. Duels cannot be rejected, but in exchange the receiving end will unconsciously choose the space limits of the duel. Your hands holding the binocular tremble, making it harder and harder to keep reading. But there is one more rule, one last sentence you can barely believe. This situation won't simply end on its own, Sink. You have to realize, we're trapped in a game with a very clear set of rules. The lives of humans and tulpas are linked. Tulpas have limited time, so their host's life is limited too. The only way to extend that life is through a duel where you must take someone else's life to prolong your own. Can you see the macabre game we're in? 6. This competition will end when only one and their conscious tulpa remains, who will be rewarded with humanity and its wish. In the end, only one will remain, one single human with their own tulpa. Everyone else has to die. But despite all that, she never left me behind. You wake up in the same room as yesterday, still lost, still unable to get used to this place. It's been a day since that last conversation on top of the tower. All you have done since then was just let the hours pass by, languishing in your thoughts until you finally fell asleep. But nothing stops the arrival of a new dawn. Light pierces through your eyelids and wakes you up little by little, followed by the sweet voice of the woman next to you. Morning, sleepyhead. Tea for breakfast? You blearily open your eyes by just a crack to nod. Then you turn back around, get comfortable, and wake up in a jump. What? You dislike tea? I have many types to choose from, though I'm not sure if you're old enough for some of them. It takes you a moment to realize Violet somehow barged into your room while you were sleeping and was casually eating breakfast. The girl watches you, hiding her smile behind the ceramic teacup. She takes an elegant sip, appearing to be giving you time to process the situation. You try to keep your composure and calm your nerves. Once you've confirmed there's no danger, you finally open your mouth to answer. No, thanks, I'm not hungry. No way, young lady. Tea's optional, but breakfast is not. Skipping dinner yesterday was enough. Violet sighs as you cast your gaze downwards. She ignores your words in favor of preparing your breakfast in a small cart. I'm just worried about you. Do you even know what time it is? You shouldn't spend a day here doing nothing. There's so many things you can do. I'm not one to tell you how you should be using your time, but I don't think the correct decision is just to forget and live pretending nothing's wrong. After you learn the truth of the incident, it may look like our behavior is unnatural when we joke around and relax so much, but I wouldn't call it fake. It's not like everything has ulterior motives or malice. I think there's space for a little bit of everything. Violet finishes preparing your breakfast. It smells so good that your belly cannot help but growl. Sink, this is the start of a new chapter of your life. Ignoring it won't change anything, and it especially won't stop you from feeling hungry. Enjoy what you have for as long as you can. No matter how dark destiny may seem,
for nothing will change the good you can bring from this experience. Besides,
She nabs a biscuit from your tray and puts it in her mouth, savoring it with gusto.
if you don't eat quickly, it could go bad. Now that would truly be a pity.
The girl winks at you, then skips her way back to the door.
I'll be waiting for whenever you're ready. I haven't shown you the castle yet.
The door closes behind Violet. It takes you a few seconds until you stretch out your arm and taste the food. It's delicious, of course. Good morning.
Sink, you know what? Poor little Helio was already waiting out here when I came out. Ah, he was so worried, he didn't even dare to knock on your door. Isn't he the cutest thing? My Helio is just too pure for this world.
I wasn't the one who snuck into her room while she was sleeping. What were you thinking?
How did you know she was sleeping? Don't tell me you were actually listening from behind the door. What did you think we were doing, huh?
I didn't.
Oh, whatever. This castle is big and we have a lot to check, so let's not waste any more time. Are you coming, Sink?
When going to explore, you will discover new locations inside the castle and the city. Exploring allows you to unlock new events, but in exchange it will consume time. Oh god, and there he comes in. You will need to explore certain places to be able to advance in the story. Or did you expect anything to happen by just languishing in your room?
You've already been here, but it's the best place to start. This is the entrance hall to the castle, where we usually gather before any of us go out in our trios.
We also have a television, video games and all kinds of entertainment around. It's easy to find the others here if you have nothing else to do.
This place is a good chance to get to know the others. Although they may not be as social as us, I can guarantee that deep inside they are good people. Really deep sometimes.
You know, repeating it just makes you look more desperate, right? After fulfilling certain requirements, you'll be able to spend time with different people of the castle during these main events. They are the only scenes that will allow you to obtain hearts on your diary entries for each character as you learn more about them. Each character has 3 hearts you can unlock, and you will need them to advance in the story. It is also possible to unlock a 4th secret heart for each character, but how or for what purpose, I have no idea. Something wrong? You shift your gaze to one of the archways and frown in confusion. It's nothing, just Columbine, quickly appearing and disappearing again. I thought the kitchen would be a little more destroyed, considering what happened yesterday.
One of the advantages of having such fantastic magicians in this castle. Both Helio and Rose helped me clean up the mess yesterday.
Rose's magic is just amazing. She can repair and recreate practically anything with almost no effort. It's quite a shock to see her use it in such a mundane way. In any case, you can come and use the kitchen anytime. We have these really big refrigerators where you'll find any ingredient as well as a storehouse right next door.
Or you can always ask me. Even if everyone here is free to eat whenever or however they want, I'm something like the unofficial chef of their castle. It's my pleasure to help you out when it comes to food.
On some occasion called secondary events, you can spend time with other members from the castle without getting any hearts. These are optional events that are not necessary to advance in the story, but they will consume time. It's up to you if you want to see them or not. Sink? I'm assuming the food in the storehouse isn't alive. Of course not. I see, then.
This is one of my favorite places, the library.
We've managed to amass quite the collection from everywhere in the city. You can also use any of the computers to access a large digital library, among other things. It's the best we've managed considering there's no internet.
There's an exit to the courtyard so you can put into practice anything you learn here.
Put into practice? Do you mean magic? Did your amnesia make you forget that too? I guess because you were talking about it back in the kitchen, but I honestly don't know if I'm able to use it.
Forgetting how magic works, that could easily cause problems. I'm afraid I'll have to give you a lesson later.
By pressing the study button, you can spend time studying in the library to unlock more spell slots. Depending on the number of slots you have, you will be able to memorize a certain number of spells to use during battle. You can also change the memorized spells or check their respective memories at any time. Neither of these actions will consume time. What was that? Again? I swear I saw something up there, but I can't really tell.
As you can see, the courtyard is pretty large, so we returned this area to its original purpose. Wait a minute, Helio. We're lucky. Rue is in the middle of training right now. How is that lucky? In response to Violet's calls, Rue first ignores her, then ignores harder, then finally ignores her with incredible disdain while she pushes him all the way back to you and Helio. I heard you two had a little squabble. I'm really sorry about what happened to you, Sync, even if it was to test you out. As compensation, this man right here will teach you how we handle the training grounds. Rue keeps his deadpan expression, his gaze switching from Violet to you. He's clearly looking for a way to run away, but in the end he succumbs to the pressure. What a bore. Despite you continuously keeping up your guard towards Rue, he manages to do a relatively okay job. Relatively because it's such a simple job that it shouldn't require any help. Even so, Rue makes for a mediocre guide. Basically, the group restored this courtyard to its original purpose, filling it with exercise machines, bullseye targets, poles and mannequins among other equipment. In the training ground, you can spend time to improve your physical and battle abilities. Training will allow you to obtain more slots for battle styles. You can also visit here at any time to reorganize your styles or check their related memories, which does not consume time. Wouldn't all these machines break if it rains or something? Rue shrugs. It seems he has reached his limit as a guide. We have plans to cover the yard quickly if necessary, but it actually hasn't been necessary. We've had really good weather. Plus, if something breaks down, we can always replace it. The city is full of empty gyms where you can borrow anything anyways. Borrow, huh? Setting aside the curious choice of words, you change the subject, pointing to a small shack next to the wall. Oh, the armory? There are lots of weapons no one's using in there, so feel free to grab anything you want. Anything I want? Weapons? You should have realized by now that we don't really have a problem with weapons. Just look at the kid. The kid? Wait, you mean my sword? In case you were wondering, it's the real deal. You have all kinds of regulations for everything, but nothing about possessing weapons. The use of them is heavily regulated though. Most of our stuff is medieval anyway. Firearms were forbidden in Maya, so they're not easy to find. You see quite the arsenal when you peek inside the building, but most of it has rusted or been otherwise rendered useless by time. Spears, swords, daggers, apparently they brought back anything they found and left it here, available for anyone to take without any restrictions. Picking up these weapons evokes a strong feeling of déjà vu. Sad and happy moments, uncertain moments, moments where you are no stranger to some of these weapons. You don't know why, but you're pretty sure you can handle some of these. You unlock the styles for dagger, sword and spear. Each style offers different advantages that you will be able to check in their respective memories when you visit the training grounds. Keep exploring the world and you might be able to learn more styles. Remember, you will first need to unlock enough slots before you can equip them. Unlocking slots requires training. It was surprising to learn about the lack of restrictions on weapons, but it is even more surprising when you open a large box in one of the stands and find an assault rifle. The moment you step out of the armory, you cannot help but bring it up. Oh, that rifle. It's been there since before I arrived. We've taken it out before to train or play with it, but in the end we always put it back there. And no one decided to keep it for themselves. We may be free to take anything we want, but there's still cameras everywhere. Going around with such a weapon doesn't look good on your character. You could say the same with all the other weapons. Why don't you destroy it or lock it somewhere safer? I wasn't sure at first either, but considering the development of magic, these weapons are not as dangerous as they once were. Cold weapons cannot be compared to that rifle either. That rifle, staying in its place, is precisely our declaration of intentions. Sync. It's a declaration stronger than all of us singing along and holding hands around a campfire. You see, what did I tell you? Deep down, Rue is nicer than meets the eye. It was worth forcing him to come along. Rue scratches the back of his ear, followed by an annoyed click of the tongue. I'm just saying that it's exactly because all these weapons are available for everyone that they work as an excellent deterrence. The uncertainty of not knowing if someone else could have them hidden is many times worse than knowing for sure where they are and how accessible they are. You, however, don't have any with you. Are you sure? You take a good long look at Rue and start to doubt your previous statement. It's not like banning them would make them vanish. At least this way everyone's conscious and aware about them. It's important not to feel too comfortable too. Are you still talking about weapons? A brief hint of a smile leaks out from Rue's permanently cold face. Then he shrugs and turns away, headed back to his training. I still can't stand that attitude of his. In any case, it's getting quite late. We may take a break if you wish. Good idea. What do you want to eat? Don't be shy, Sink. You ask and I shall give. It's just that I still have this weird feeling. It's nothing, I guess. I would take all she had. After a short break, you're waiting in the hall where all you can hear is the turning of a page. Neither Helio nor Violet are here yet, only Thistle. He's focused on the pages of an old notebook. Curious, you get close enough to take a peek. You're not sure if it's in another language or the handwriting is simply pathetic, but it's absolutely unreadable. Thistle finally notices your presence before you can ask.
Oh, hello there, Sink. Do you need anything?
I'm just waiting for someone, don't worry.
I guess they're showing you around. What have you seen so far? What did you like the most? Don't you think it's amazing we can live in a castle like this one? It has so much history.
You can almost literally hear the sound of Thistle's enthusiasm revving up.
This castle is more than 200 years old. For a castle it's not too old, so it doesn't look too shabby. Still, it had become obsolete with time until it was turned into just a tourist attraction. It's quite a privilege that we can live in it without foreigners running around, don't you think? Just like the former monarchs.
His verbosity increases to the point where your head starts to get dizzy. He cites historical and cultural data to the smallest detail, never stopping for a second so you can't even try to interrupt. His voice only manages to calm down after he's finished his lecture. The excitement in his eyes is replaced by nostalgia, his gaze drifting from the castle walls back down to his notebook.
I was so busy before that I never had the time to read books or visit the places I wanted, even if they were so close. It's funny how you spend your life worried about so many things that you end up forgetting about what's really important. And even if it's wrong for me to say it, those small things can brighten you up even during the worst catastrophes.
This brief moment of quiet lingers in the air for a few seconds, before Thistle leaves the notebook on the table and turns to you with a grin on his face.
Or the big things too. It's not like we can live in such opulence every day. Take the chance to make the most of it.
Your tired face is his answer, so Thistle leans forward with a sharp gleam in his eyes, changing the subject.
Anyway, I may be talking too much, but tell me, how is your amnesia? Have you managed to remember anything?
No, not much. I can't really tell if I managed to remember anything.
A pity, but don't let that drag your spirits down. That's just how the mind works. We don't really remember anything until we're faced with some kind of activating trigger. Try new things, explore new places, and at the most unexpected moments those memories will come to you. Or at least that's what Violet said. I don't really know much about that myself.
I'm actually waiting here for her. She told me she would teach me how to use magic. That may help.
Magic? No, that's unexpected.
That I don't remember magic is unexpected?
That too. Not everyone could perform magic before the incident, but it was common sense to know the basics at least.
Then what are you surprised about? Thistle hesitates for a moment before he lowers his voice to a whisper.
You've spent quite some time with Violet so far, correct? Tell me, what's your opinion of her?
She's obliging and attentive. She likes to tease people in her own way, but I imagine you're not talking about those things.
No, of course not.
Thistle rests his elbow on the armrest, his eyes cutting and his words concise.
I want to know if you trust her.
I don't know. Did you start without me? Violet's footsteps echo behind you as she arrives, although judging by her expression it doesn't seem she knows what you were just talking about.
It's nothing, I was just giving Sink some tips.
Thistle glances at you and simultaneously stands up to receive Violet, inviting her to take a seat. That's why I called you too, Thistle. You know how to give lessons quite well, especially with that constant teacher-like vibe you give off.
Teacher-like? I was a teacher before the incident.
Did you previously ask Thistle to come help us out? I had to take the opportunity of us having a teacher here, even if it was just a history lesson.
I'm going to pretend that low blow to history never happened there, miss. And even if history was my specialty, I've taught pretty much any subject before. Let's not underestimate the teacher, or else I'll get rid of your class prefect status.
Since when am I the class prefect?
I've always thought of you as one of those teacher's pets class prefects, adjusting her glasses while reminding the teacher he forgot to collect the homework to the sound of everyone's boos.
What are you even talking about? I don't wear glasses. Are you picking a fight with me by any chance?
From a teacher's perspective, I can guarantee that everything I just said was praise and flattery.
Don't be silly.
Could we, get to the point, please?
Raising one of his eyebrows in annoyance, the last person you were waiting on comes in and takes a seat.
Of course, we were just killing time. Let me see, where do we begin? Alright, Sync, you said you don't remember anything?
Nothing at all, so I'll have to start from the ground up. Isn't that right, Sync? Sync?
While everyone was talking, you heard some weird noise coming from the upper floor, so you're in the middle of looking up there in a daze. But just like all the previous times, it doesn't seem to be anything relevant. Yes, sorry, in regards to magic, I have some intuition about it, but I don't really know where to start. Then we'd probably be best off starting with an example. Do you mind, Violet?
No biggie, that's why I'm here. Here, watch me closely.
Violet extends her hand and closes her eyes. Shortly afterwards, an aura covers her entire hand for a few seconds, and finally that aura transforms into a living flame. This is magic. It may look like the miraculous power to create matter out of nothing, but that's not exactly right. Magic is nothing but an extension of your body. Just like how you're able to move your arms or control your breath with just a thought, magic is the ability to consciously manipulate your own aura.
However, even though Thistle made it sound so convenient, it consumes energy to create this kind of instantaneous combustion. This energy comes from my own reserves, which can easily run out. Basically, the food you eat becomes the fuel for our spells. And trust me, magic is many times more exhausting than any other form of exercise you may think of.
Violet closes her fist to extinguish the flame. She takes a deep breath, looking clearly tired.
For instance, manually lighting a fire with tinder would be around 10 times less grueling than what I just showed you.
To put it in the most basic terms, everyone possesses an aura, and this aura can be manipulated just like any other part of your body. This aura can be projected onto other objects around you or even yourself, resulting in all kinds of effects or even creating new matter. The second option is much harder than the first one for sure. It's not like you're completely free to do whatever you can think of. The more complex the task you want to perform, the more you'll need to properly visualize and understand your aura.
But anything can be achieved with practice. Generally, the best approach is to find some kind of specialization you'd like to focus on. From there, you can get used to the feel of that kind of magic and improve your mastery of its manipulation.
Then there's people like Rosemary who can do anything easily.
I think it's better if we don't use her as an example. Rose is special. For me, as you saw just now, fire is my strong suit. Still, anyone can do any magic if they work hard enough.
One limitation you must keep in mind is distance. The first step of magic is externalizing your aura. This aura is coming out from your own body and can only expand as far as you are mentally capable.
For that very reason, creating a flame on my fingers or even lighting this sofa on fire would be easy, but I couldn't say the same about burning that big picture back there. Even the best magicians are only able to expand their aura by just a few meters.
It's different if you generate a spell next to you and then throw it. Once it takes shape of its own, it will follow the same laws of physics as any other object.
The physics part is important. I can't throw fireballs around. Making a flamethrower is a lot more useful. The exception to that rule would be magic circles, but that's a topic that would only confuse you more, so we'll leave it for another day.
You nod with great interest. Violet cannot help but laugh proudly. Let me try to recap. What I've learned from all of this is that Violet is an arsonist or something.
Very funny, Sync.
Just joking, more or less. I just found it funny how all your examples were about fire or burning stuff.
What an amusing sense of humor, pretty face.
Actually, you can create anything with magic, even items, matter, or energy that can't normally be found in nature or doesn't even exist. However, you need to possess at least an intuitive understanding of such a creation, enough to make it fit within the rules of this world at least. Veracity is the key. You first need to believe it can happen, no matter how ridiculous that spell may seem at first glance. You mull it over, trying to process all this new information in your head, though you're not really sure where to start. Stop worrying about the details, just focus on the big picture first. You can use the books in the library later to practice on your own. Always keep in mind the 2 principal points of performing magic.
Thistle raises his index finger decisively.
Number 1, physical. Magic requires a perfect union of mind and body, where both move in sync like the gears of a perfect clock. As I said, magic is nothing but an extension of your body. A spell coming from your body should be the same as your nails or hair growing out of your skin. Taking good care of your body is the first step. Still, no matter how much you train, there will always be people who won the genetic lottery.
Like the royal family, for example. The queen has always been considered the best magician of the kingdom for a reason. Don't let that kind of envy get the better of you. Even if there are genetic differences, that hasn't stopped great magicians from coming out of modest families, such as Fennel. Fennel?
Helio's eyes light up at the mere mention of that name, while you massage your forehead with your hand in thought.
The best magician in the entire world. It's said that Fennel was able to expand her aura to stretch entire kilometers. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just a legend.
True or false, that's not important right now. Let's not confuse sync any more than necessary. Thistle sighs, then raises up 2 of his fingers to continue with the next point. Number 2, personality.
Personality?
I imagine you're not talking about discipline like in martial arts. Not even close. The type of personality doesn't matter. What matters is that it is your personality. Keeping your mind clear and focused is obviously always helpful, but it's not the basis for what I'm talking about. This is more complex and harder to understand, but it's the most important part. You and your aura are one. You can create or transfer your aura with just a thought because it belongs to you. By extension, if you're able to fold your surroundings into your own aura, you can then transform those surroundings. Performing magic requires projecting your mind into the world until you're capable of manipulating elements from your body or the world on a molecular level. In conclusion, you need to be in charge of yourself and then extend that rule over your surroundings. To succeed, you need a strong sense of self and a clear mind without doubts, able to recognize what you are and where you can reach. Then you will be able to take control over close elements and possess them.
Still more than a little confused, you look around at the others' faces, trying to get another explanation that makes more sense. Look at it this way, Zink. Why are your legs and your arms part of your body? Just because they are attached and share the same nervous system or blood supply?
Yes.
However, you don't truly have full control over your organs. Your heart beats by itself, your stomach digests food without you thinking about it. They act freely, not paying your conscious mind any attention. What's more, you also rely on plenty of independent microorganisms to live. Can you really say they belong to you? That they are part of you? Here's where the mental component of magic starts. You have probably noticed how your mental state can control your own body to the point where it can start to affect that which you usually cannot control. Placebo effect, forced pregnancy, psychosomatic disorders, synesthesia? That is to say, yes, you can technically control your body with enough meditation and mental work, and your aura is part of your body. It's just a lot harder to recognize since it's the foundation for all living beings, the spark of life as it's usually called.
That's why your ego plays such an important role. It helps your mind maintain a cohesive picture of yourself. That's what gives you the security and support to separate and differentiate self from other. Small details such as unique expressions or a particular way of dressing up can help achieve this particular mental state and allow you to visualize your own aura.
This leads us to the fact that everyone has an aura, even if it's not really visible all the time. And since everyone has an ego, big or small, it's impossible to expand your aura over another person. This effectively stops people from using magic directly on another subject. No exceptions. 2 auras cannot overlap. You can relax. No one can perform magic directly over you or anything that is inside your aura.
That's one of the few comforting things I've heard since I arrived. I was already worrying that you could just set me on fire with a snap of your fingers at any time.
Are you underestimating me? Want to test your chances, sweetheart?
I think I'll pass. Now to the most important piece. How do I perform magic then? Reading books in the library and applying the techniques until your brain explodes. It would have been a lot easier to start with that. That's usually what kids do when they start learning, but it's always easier if you understand the fundamentals first. Learning magic puts a lot of pressure on the subject, with effects similar to unease, headache, or even depression. Not everyone can handle it. That's why magic wasn't practiced widely by the general population.
You could have omitted that to not discourage her, Thistle.
Here's the truth. She would have to fight against those symptoms sooner or later, and we're not in a position to go out without magic backing us up.
The group falls silent. No one can deny the reality Fizzle is talking about. Just like how he taught you on the Tower Keep yesterday.
So, with the lesson over, I need to depart, if you'll allow me. I can barely understand half of this notebook, and this hall isn't the best place for concentrated reading.
Alright guys, as the class prefect, I proclaim this class to be finished. Here, take these few books for starters. Sink, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask me anytime. Now I have to prepare for tonight.
While Fizzle and Violet leave, you take a look at the books they left for you.
You scan them over, but after having spent so long listening to their explanations, it feels as if you already understand the contents of these books. Maybe magic isn't as hard as you first thought after all.
You unlock the Enhancement, Shock, and Grenade spells. Each spell will give you different advantages, which you can check at their corresponding entries in the library. Keep exploring the world for the potential to learn more spells. You spend some time in silence before you realize that Helio is still here too. The boy seemed particularly serious and reserved during those explanations, so now it's hard to choose what to say to him. Hey, Helio, about before. However, you are once again interrupted by a weird sound which makes your head turn to one of the corners of the room.
Columbine, come out. Don't be so scared.
You don't see anything strange, so you look back at an expectant Helio. His now bright eyes make him look like a completely different person than he was a minute ago. The person you were talking about before, what was their name again? Fenrir? Listening to that name sends an ache through your head. You rub your forehead and frown. I think I know that name. Oh, it's us. It's definitely gonna be us.
That's normal. Everybody knows her. The kingdom's great heroine, the best magician in the entire world. The one who put an end to the civil war.
Oh, it's so us.
For all of us who've heard about her since we were kids, she's our shining example.
If she's so famous, I guess that explains this feeling.
You truly don't remember anything, huh?
Helio sighs and shakes his head softly.
There wasn't a single person who didn't dream of leaving school and becoming a hero just like her. We all waited for that day to wake up to that miracle that would make our dreams come true.
Helio is so lost in his memories that he doesn't notice the strange noises around you. Once again, you wonder if you're imagining things. Alright, Columbine. It's just a cardboard box.
With someone in it. Then one day it happens, the incident. It's nothing like what you thought. You feel so guilty to see what your wish has become. At first I felt sick at the mere idea I had something to do with that horror, but now I think I finally understand it.
You hear something again. It becomes clearer and clearer that Helio still hasn't noticed, and it doesn't look like the right time to interrupt him.
Columbine, what have you done? It's not about waiting for some chance before you can take action. It's about what you can do here and now in the present. There's nothing heroic in this morbid game, but there's always something I can do. I can protect the people I care about, leave my mark until I find a solution. It's not about waiting for some promised day. It's about being a hero at any and every moment.
Alright, this is going too far.
What are you doing? I've really come to love everyone in this castle, and I won't allow any more death, and that includes you now. That's what promises are all about, aren't they?
The boy has some trouble making eye contact with you after his peculiar speech, blushing, nervous, worried, but above all, surprised. Sink?
You aren't listening to me, right?
Are you even seeing what's going on?
How have you not noticed that?
That's a rainbow.
How did Columbine create a rainbow in the lobby?
Wait, the one chasing me and making all these noises was Columbine all along?
Remember how yesterday she appeared out of nowhere and scared you stiff? That was when she wasn't trying to hide herself. She's the total opposite when she's trying to go unseen.
Amazing. I don't even know what I should be feeling, surprise or pity.
It's kind of sad at first, but it becomes even funnier once you get over it.
Even more? Is that possible? Her listless face told me everything I needed to know about her. Night has already fallen. Wow, you were so busy today that time really flew by. You think that's been enough excitement for a day, but a face you hadn't encountered yet today announces the contrary.
Hey Sink, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be in your room? Violet must be there already, and I was heading there myself too.
My room? Why?
Rose walks away before he can form a full sentence. Maybe I should consider sleeping somewhere else tonight. So, may I ask what you two are doing in my room? Slumber party, dear. You haven't figured it out yet. We've had our ups and downs, but it would be remiss for us not to give you a proper welcome, at least amongst us girls. And the pajamas are where? Don't worry about it. We improvised a bit and didn't know what to do until the last second. Then how was I supposed to have figured out this was going to be a slumber party? Girl, do I have to be on top of everything here or what? Don't sweat the small stuff. Still doesn't explain why it has to be in my room. Also, if it's a girls' night, isn't someone missing? I tried, but Columbine is evading us. She's so shy. She's getting better at getting away. Who's going to fill my daily quota of affection now? Are we talking about the same girl here? Because she's been chasing me all day long, with some terrible consequences, if I may add. That's good news. She finally likes someone. If she bullies you and I bully her, does that mean I'm bullying you by proxy? I knew I was good at everything, but I've truly surpassed myself with this. Neither of those is true. I'm starting to understand why she avoids you. Although it's better if... Who's calling me and why won't you let me sleep? Oh, there she is. Problem solved. Why were you sleeping in my bed in the first place? And where do you want me to sleep? In the bathtub? No, that's not the issue here. Come on, we're celebrating. Let's get along. The idea is to get to know each other better with some friendly chatting, don't you agree? That and annoying the boys. I don't know about the guys, but you sure are doing it to me. I don't think the guys are really going to be bothered by what we get up to. Well, they should, considering your record. Meanwhile, in front of the room, what are they even doing all together in there? Easy, Heliotrope. This is a key moment. We must unite and stay strong together. I just came to take back the candy. That candy is for everyone. Enough, I'm going in. If I don't come back, please remember me as a hero. Stop, you'll die if you go there now. Yeah, I'm not going to just accept your sacrifice. If you don't recover the candy first. Listen, my friends, it's in these dire times that we need to stick together. Don't fall for the trickery of these sirens. We're better than that. We are men. Let's have our own party, celebrating our masculinity. A man party? And what are we even going to do? I pissed outside the toilet a little bit before, if that counts. Oh, so that was you. Good work. Those kinds of masculine activities are the way forward. Don't egg him on. Don't you worry, it wouldn't be the first time. So it's always been you. Comrades, now is not the time for infighting. We have to focus and make a plan. I agree, but what are we even going to do? We don't know what they're scheming in there. All the guys cross their arms in unison, pensive. At this point, I'm just imagining them talking about various girly gossip. Like love, their hobbies, stuff like that. You amateurs, you have no clue how women work. I've been married, I know what's going through their minds. Enlighten us, master. Well, first of all, they must get a first taste of discussion. Since it's a party, they will most likely start with food and drinks. So, just like any other party? The difference is in the tastefulness. It tends to be way more refined, elegant. I can almost see it already. Expectations. Alright, girls, I've brought the stuff. What do you want? I've got sweet tea, ice cream. Ice cream? Oof, no, I'm not trying to get fatter. All that stuff's horrible for the skin. It's just a one time, come on. I'll get something light, or I won't be able to sleep. I'll get that fruit yogurt. Reality. Alright, girls, I brought everything. What do you want? There's beer, chips. If the doc gives us a blessing, I'm diving directly into that indigestion. I was wondering how you all managed to be so chill and giddy considering the circumstances, but I think I may have stumbled into the answer. That's the power of alcohol, girl. Here, everyone, take a glass and tell me what you want. I don't even care at this point. You mentioned beer earlier. Ethanol? What?
Second phase is going to be chit-chat on various trivial matters. They'll probably start with fashion, clothes, accessories, you know the drill.
I see. I'm going to write this down. Look at this magazine. What do you think? You're asking me? I think it would look fabulous on you, but I think Violet should have the final say. She's always so elegant and classy. Oh no, these are just some random trash I had lying around. Your style is always way bolder and more unique, Rose.
I'm so jealous. I never know what to wear.
That's why we come in for help. Let's see what we can find in your closet. Look at this magazine. What do you think?
Perfect. Toss it into the fire. What the? You come running from the bathroom, throwing a bucket full of water to extinguish the bonfire they suddenly lit in the middle of your room. How in the world did you end up making a bonfire?
Shh, no stress right now. Focus on the fire's beauty and have another glass.
Alright, we officially went overboard with the alcohol.
Haven't you ever gotten hypnotized watching fire?
Yeah, of course I have.
Happens to everyone. Fire is mystical in its own way, and I personally... And I wanted to jump inside.
Stop. And finally, what's always a part of these meetings? Loving boys. Scribbles. Jesus Christ, Elliot.
If you had to choose one, though. If I had to choose one, oof, I don't know, girl. Sink, you go first.
Don't spring that on me so suddenly. Columbine should start.
Me? No. I would die of embarrassment. If you had to choose one, though. If I had to choose one, it's obvious.
Rugby. How is rugby the best sport? Formula 1 is much more exciting and requires more skill.
No, that cannot even be considered a sport. Most of the work comes from a machine. The best sport should be some sort of martial arts like judo. I would never have thought you to be interested in judo, Violet. You seem too refined for that. It's a show of strength and technique and doesn't resort to brutality. Not like others. Hey, it's not brutality, but an interesting mix of strategy and strength. No timeouts, no people throwing themselves to the floor pretending they got hurt. That's how sports should always be. I agree. If it doesn't have that spark of intensity, it's not a true sport.
The three of you remain quiet, all looking at Columbine with trepidation.
What? I like climbing. I don't know what you were expecting.
That's not that weird, right?
No, I suppose it's perfectly reasonable. Quite interesting, actually. Columbine is finally fitting in for once. I always dreamed of this moment. Feeling the wind in your face, seeing the landscape stretch out before your eyes.
Doesn't it make you want to drop down?
Yeah, it must be nice. I perfectly understand you, Colum. And that sweet moment where everything fails and you fall into the abyss.
Never mind, I didn't say anything. Don't even doubt it for a second, gentlemen. At this very moment inside that room, their opinion of us is being utterly scrutinized.
It's terrifying and charming at the same time. What can we do?
As I mentioned, we cannot get entangled in their mental games. We'll fight with our own masculinity.
Alcohol, arm wrestling, sports, guns.
And peeing outside.
No, not that. That's seriously disgusting. Oh my, it seems the guys finally gave up and stopped their ruckus out there.
With everything going on in here, how are you even able to hear anything happening out there? Rose finishes up playing a pretty rural song, you could call it, on a guitar.
Where did that guitar come from? That's one of the mysteries of parties. Don't ask.
Apart from the outlandish lyrics, that song wasn't too bad, Rose. Is there anything you can't do?
Of course not. You should already know by now. I'm Miss Perfect. And the song wasn't outlandish. It's a pretty common one, depending where you ask. Nobody here knows it?
I would say it sounds familiar, but I wouldn't be able to say because you know. Amnesia. Everyone shakes their heads in unison. Rose sighs.
I learned it from a friend long ago. I imagine people here in the capital wouldn't know. It was the same for me at first.
To be fair, it doesn't really fit you.
Who cares? It's a fun song. I would expect Violet to know it since she's not from here, but not even she's heard it before, huh?
Violet isn't from here? That's the first I've heard of this.
Same. Oh my, I was found out.
Violet covers her mouth with her fingers, feigning a surprised expression while actually hiding a smirk.
Wait, was it a secret? I kind of guessed. I even asked you some time ago. You could have told me and I would have kept the secret. No, that's fine. It wasn't a secret. It's just the kind of information I prefer to not yell to the four winds.
Were you afraid of being discriminated against or something?
A little. Let's just say that in the eyes of some here in Maya, my people are not pleasant existence. But it's not like I ever cared much about it, and I've been here for a few years now. If you truly didn't care, you wouldn't hide it. Generally I don't, but after the incident... Also, I think I'm not the only one. That's another reason why I didn't want to say more than necessary. Oh, there's someone else?
Can you tell who?
Do you really want to know?
Of course. Violet leans over you, then softly places her index finger on your breastbone.
You think that robe you're wearing is unique to my country, didn't you know?
It takes a while for you to process Violet's words. Your gaze travels from your hands along your sleeves to your body as you touch the robe's fibers in surprise.
Not from here. At least that robe isn't. In fact, it's a ceremonial garment, quite rare, not the kind sold to the public, worn by a very specific group. Oh, that explains why I didn't recognize it. I've never seen that kind of clothing anywhere. She's wearing the real deal, which are even more rare. They are made by hand and exclusively fit their wearer. In return, they are quite easily recognizable due to their exquisite quality. That's why you can at least remember your name, right?
Violet inclines her head slightly and points to her nape. You give an insecure nod.
I've never heard anything about discrimination, and I've always been from here. I think you all know. One reason the Civil War broke out in Maya was because the country was bankrupt, right? The monarchy's fault for getting involved in foreign wars that they had nothing to do with, where they never managed to get their money back. Now just guess where I come from. That was a long time ago anyways. The Civil War is over. The capital wasn't too badly affected anyways. The issue is that it's my own country. That my own country was one of Maya's allies and owed Maya a great deal of money. A debt that was never paid. So many people considered us guilty on a personal level, despite everything happening when I was a baby. As if a war would leave you in any condition to pay for anything. I doubt you would find any such extreme people nowadays. Most people don't even know that part of history, unless they were a history nerd like the boss. Of course, as I said before the incident, I never really cared to hide it. But it doesn't hurt to hold your tongue, wouldn't you agree?
A long silence looms over the room. Any kind of comment about our current situation, no matter how small, always seems to bring this reaction. You, however, don't mind cutting off that atmosphere before it can get any heavier. I had really low expectations for this welcome party in the first place, but this is a new low. Setting aside how my room was almost burned down, you all somehow ended up talking non-stop about history and politics. And there aren't any pajamas.
True, alright, it's gossip time. I'm the best at stringing together theories, so let me start off. Violet, if you're from the outside, why did you come to live in Maya? Because I married a local, obviously.
You're married?
Happily married, actually. Not a small feat. But with the incident, you get the idea. In any case, I first came here for my studies, but then I ended up getting married and staying. It's not like I had much back home anyway, so why not?
She mentions it so casually, as if it's the most common thing in the world.
I'm starting to question your age. Tell us the truth. Never. The most I can tell you is that I got married while I was studying in college. There, that should give you enough of an idea. That's a tricky lead. How many times did you fail a year in school? I'm a good student. Never had to repeat anything. I always get everything done in time. Oh yeah? Myself here managed to get the doctorate at 16. My win. Nerds. And are you still single, Dr. Rosemary, since we're already on the subject and all? Married? Me? No. Hesitated for a second there. Cut that out, as if I could give away a piece of this bomber to anyone. I have so much to do before that. It's just that I never thought about it before, so it feels weird talking about it. Nowadays, pretty much no one marries so young. Violet, you're the exception.
Since I don't remember, I can't give my opinion, but the topic of marriage feels strange to me too.
You see, Sink too, and I highly doubt Columbine.
Rose stops, turning her gaze to Columbine slowly.
Columbine, you're single too, right? It's complicated.
Complicated?
Columbine, my dear, you've only met Sink yesterday. Just because you chase her and share the same bed doesn't mean...
Hey, let's not make her sleeping here a reality, okay?
It's not anything like that. Sink, I leave my daughter Columbine in your hands. Take care of her.
Don't pull my leg.
Wouldn't be surprised either, considering the guys with you in the castle.
Even worse.
On that subject, are they still out there?
They went away a while ago while you were playing the guitar.
Where's the guitar now, anyways? That's another mystery surrounding the end of parties. One that we'll never be able to answer.
What about if we go check on them? They must be suffering without us. I don't think so. It hasn't been that long, right? So, this is the great art of manicure.
Are you alright, Rue? Now that your nails are bright pink, don't you feel anything different about yourself?
I have the imperative wish to eat ice cream. That's not different from the usual. And cry.
It's taken effect.
I don't think it's safe to keep going with this, Thistle. Rue crying is a tall order.
We need to keep going, for the sake of science.
And buy shoes.
Okay, alright, now we've gone overboard.
From the top of the stairs, you stare in astonishment at the unfurling scene. In the middle of an improvised spa room, there is a coordinated effort going on to paint Rue's nails. By the time the guys finally discover your presence, their reaction is priceless.
Quickly, activate Plan B.
We don't have a Plan B.
And someone needs to get out there and do something masculine to compensate.
Don't worry, you got it covered. Don't you dare unzip those pants now. And nobody dared to speak a word about that day's events ever again. Where our blood covered with little life remains.
How's it going, Sink? Having fun?
With the peculiar welcome party, your room is finally free. That is, until Thistle knocks on your door, looking lively. Thistle, didn't you go to sleep like the rest?
My room is the one right next to yours. I just wanted to see how you were doing, considering this is your second day, and now you hopefully know us a little better.
Thank you, but it wasn't really necessary.
You still seem upset, though. I'm sure you were expecting something else.
Despite your reluctance, Thistle invites you to take a seat, his manner poised and confident. Perhaps too confident. The perfect smile on his face arouses both your suspicion and your curiosity.
All that talk about the incident, the very end of the world, and here you are fooling around as if nothing ever happened. Quite a shock, isn't it? But the movies and novels always give us this overly dramatic version of life. The very moment you manage to create any stability, people will always prefer that peace, no matter how much they might scream for the opposite. Doing nothing is always easier than doing something. That's why we have the regulations established in this castle, above the very rules you saw on the Monolith's wall. They are the necessary social contract to make sure we can get along, just like you did with everyone today.
It took you a while, but you're finally sounding like a leader. Thistle lets out a chuckle and gestures at himself with modesty.
Oh please, everyone just put that title on my shoulders without any warning. I'm just trying to help to the best of my abilities. It's not like I enjoy it either. I know that my methods can sound conceited and dangerous on some occasions. Any shocking experiences, like at the electric substation, are precisely so you can understand the importance of the peace we've built in this castle. You wouldn't have been able to appreciate the importance of that welcome party if you hadn't previously gotten a taste of the true environment we are trapped in. Most people would think this all seems like a dumb farce. They are correct, but the reality is that here and now we are still alive, enjoying life despite the horrors that await us out there.
You sigh, avoiding Thistle's gaze, still unable to accept it. For how long?
Pardon?
That's what you meant by the question this afternoon, right? If I could trust Violet, the reason behind teaching me that magic. I do appreciate the casual greetings and all that friendly treatment. I understand what you're trying to say about getting along and enjoying life despite the incident. But how long will this go on? Weren't we supposed to have a time limit? Isn't that the reason why you are here?
I see that your lack of memories hasn't affected your courage. As you wish, Sink. I won't fudge the issue. The real reason I came here was to explain another of our regulations. One of the easiest ones. New members or people under suspicion must be interrogated. Don't worry, it's nothing aggressive, just a talk between you and I so we can guarantee that at the very least you are the kind of person we can share this place with. Although considering your amnesia there's not much to talk about, I suppose. Therefore allow me to propose this.
Thistle falls silent for an instant while he adjusts his seat and carefully chooses his words.
When I have the chance, I'll come to your room every night before bedtime, just like right now. I will answer one question every night. Any question about this world, its people, anything you want to know. In exchange, I suggest that you let me know if you find any information. Something you hear, something that worries you, something that the others told you.
It's just a suggestion.
It's not a threat nor an obligation. I understand that since you've just arrived, your head must be full of other thoughts. But I trust that because of your condition, you can offer a completely unique perspective on our particular Eden.
What happens if I have nothing to share? I told you, didn't I? It's not just us needing to gain your trust, you also need to earn ours. I'll keep answering one question per day, no problem, but as you may already understand, whatever you decide to share will most likely influence the people involved and our lives in this castle. Who do you wish to keep as your friends right now? Who might be able to help you out more? Who might mess up unless you do something to intervene? Our destinies may already be decided, and we may all be enemies at the end of this path, but until then, we can still decide how we want our journey to go. As the days go by, the tension bar will increase. If it reaches 100%, it's game over. Some actions may seem suspicious. These will increase the bar percentage more than usual at the end of the day. However, you can reduce this tension by sharing information with Thistle at night. While sharing information will definitely make Thistle happy, it may negatively affect your relationship with the others. It's up to you to decide what's more important. So these are the requirements to live in this castle. This is how it's always worked, even before the incident, depending on how you look at it. And what will you do with this information? The same things I've been doing since the very first day, and it's the reason why we can enjoy this peace right now. To keep the lights of this castle on for as long as possible, to repeat more fun days like today until the moment we can no longer run away from our destiny. This is the only thing I can swear upon, the only promise I've managed to keep until this day. For I would always win. Excuse me, it will only take a minute. Now you know what you need. Now you can start your new life. You obtained the battle guide. Revise the items of your diary to read it. One last piece of advice. Make as many memories as possible and keep them in your heart to recall later. Don't forget what you have done. You don't want your story to end as a result of being unable to advance past a certain point because you forgot some important moments, right? I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times already. I won't forget. Okay. And as this demo seems to be going on for absolutely ages, I'm going to end this week's Indie Sunday here. I will definitely continue the game. I know 100% now. Probably just in as a normal series. I hope I don't, once I buy the actual game, I hope I don't have to go through those 2 hours again, although I can just skip through most of the text, so I'll go by in a breeze. But yeah, that was the demo, or part of the demo at least, of Lotus Reverie First Nexus. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for doing so, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.